What's up, everyone? I'm Hybrid Toy Reviews, and welcome back to Talking Toys with the Boys. You know me, and you know my boy here.
Hey everybody, I'm Vincent from Carbonites, and thank you for talking toys with us tonight.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. We're going to give it a minute, let a couple of people trickle on in. I know this was a last second announcement, put it up last night, Instagrammed it today. But we missed January, wasn't a lot going on. And we just had to get back on the horse. So we got Carbonites in here with the smells like up dog in here.
It's a classic. You better believe I'm going to do it every time.
Right.
But yeah,
what's Carbonites? Wooden blocks? No. No.
I guess for those who don't know, Carbonites did, yes, start as wooden Jenga blocks, and then we started
examples.
You know it. I'm always handy. And then we transitioned to a plastic block that good old Hybrid Toy Reviews here helped me develop. Couldn't do it without them. And then from there, you take that plastic block and you wrap it with a decal of one of our characters, and you get a Carbonite. So Hybrid always does a great job of linking my company down in the description below. If that's something you at all want to check out, we have over 90 cases available and over 500 characters to choose from. And Hybrid's always making awesome reviews of Carbonites on his channel if you want to learn more. But thanks everybody for hopping in. I see some names in the chat.
Yeah.
We're excited to talk some Mando and Grogu today. Or are we actually excited?
We were gonna. We got a few goats trickling in real quick. So we got Michael CF3DP. Hello, how are you doing? So hope you are doing good, Michael. We got the Phantom Menace Dennis. Look at these goats. Man, are you talking into the mirror? So and then we got Blitz coming in. What are those? Is there something inside them? What do you do with them? Are they wooden blocks? I beat you to it, my guy. I beat you to it.
Blitz is dropping some ball knowledge there, because on occasion, like, you guys will do a review of Carbonites and you explain everything that they are, and you'll still see a comment like, oh, what are these? And it's like, oh, you clicked on a video to learn about what these are. So
right.
God bless, those people. But yeah, super cool seeing those names in chat. We just got to see them in person at Toy High. And you dropped an awesome vlog the other day of your experience. Yeah. We'll probably talk about pickups from that later on, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about some pickups. We all got a couple of cool things. I'd like to point out really quick about a Blitz here. Tommy, he's the one that deals with these comments. I don't get these comments. And so in my opinion, that means that my reviews are more educational and informative and better. So no, it's not a competition, but
friendly banter, right?
Right. But we got Starscream popping in with a gentleman. How are you doing, my guy?
What's going on, Starscream? I always think this is interesting. The logos of Cobra Commander, but the name's Starscream. So that's so cool. But thanks for stopping by, man.
All right. You think we're ever going to get that G.I. Joe Transformers collab movie?
So, I mean, they do a good job making it work in the comics. And I love some of the figures that they've done of, like, the crossover, like Hound as like a G.I. Joe Jeep. So they do Megatron as a HISS tank. They work great in toy form. They work awesome in the comic realm. But yeah, it's so tricky about the movie. I feel like G.I. Joe needs to establish its own movie universe before they immediately start riding the Transformer tail. And Transformers, within its own right, needs to establish, what are we going to start over? There's always rumors that Michael Bay is going to come back into the picture.
Right, Shia allegedly.
Exactly. You also then have the whole, like, Rise of the Beasts and the Bumblebee movie and what that was setting up to transition with the Joes. That'd probably be the best direction to head in, but I know Rise of the Beasts wasn't really well received. So it's like, that's not the movie I think you build off of to transition into it. So I don't know. It's tricky.
All right. We got Gen X Brian popping in with an evening. How are you doing, Brian? And then HTR's friend Mark with a howdy. So it's a title, by the way, being my friend. So
I think so. It was great getting to meet you, Mark, at Ohio the other day.
We got Return of the Jodi. What's up, everyone? Joe, how are you doing? It's a name I've not heard in a long time. a long time. And then we got Mr. Star Wars 1138. Hey, Tommy and Hybrid and Carbonites. We're
What's
all
up?
here. So, and no, Starscream's liking the idea of the collab movie. You know, I mean, I like the idea. You know, where it's like, you know, Transformers and GI Joe are things that I know started as toy lines with spin-off cartoons, and I got into them way backwards. You know, I was just a kid in the early 2000s when they were like, let's make movies for these things. And, you know, I might have had like one Transformers toy before those movies came out. So I just know them as the cool robot car movies, you know, or the cool, you know, soldier movies, you know, special ops soldier movies. So,
And I mean, if you look at the original G1 cartoon for Transformers, you also did have some G.I. Joe crossover in there. I know of a character named Old Snake, and it's this episode where it's actually Cobra Commander, and he's kind of hijacked the whole episode about Transformers. I think there's an episode with Shipwreck, but I could be wrong. So they've always been very subtle about the, you know, crossing over. So Starscream, let us know in the chat if you would want them to continue the Rise of the Beasts movies with the GI Joe, with that, you know, setup, or would you want them to start from scratch and do like an Energon universe take on the collab? Let us know.
So we got Blitz steering us a little bit here, and we were getting here. Let's talk about that Mando and Grogu trailer. Oh, so there was plans for this live stream because, like we said, we took January off, and everyone was hearing word about this Super Bowl trailer and how we're going to finally get something for Mando and Grogu, because we had that like little 30-second teaser like 4 months ago, and that's been it, and nothing else is leaked. And the movie's coming out in 3 months, like 90 something days. Like, we're going and sitting in the theaters and watching this thing. And I know sometimes the trailers get a little heavy on the spoilers for some people's definition of that, but some of us still like seeing the trailers. You know, I mean, you know, we're definitely in the knowing nothing side of things. But they also haven't shown much of anything. And so, you know, I'm sitting here and you know, watching this sports ball game going on, and all of a sudden, oh, what's his name? Sam Elliott, you know, the cowboy man. I'm hearing this awesome manly voice on Hoth, and I'm just gonna screen share. it. And all of a sudden, I'm watching not a Mando and Grogu trailer, but also a Mando and Grogu trailer. What were your thoughts, Vincent?
So I did a little bit of research on this. I think it's cool to look back at the past, and I think it emphasizes why this is kind of a letdown. So I looked at the Solo trailer. The Solo trailer, which is another spinoff with a very iconic, you know, character name in the title. By the way, if anybody wants a really good deep dive on this topic, Blitz Transmission dropped an awesome episode of the Blitzcast covering why this could have been handled better. I would happily, you know, encourage anybody to go check that out. But in terms of our thoughts, you know, this right here reminds me of the Solo trailer. So of course there's a teaser for Mandalorian Grogu. I'm not gonna act like there isn't. And there was a teaser for Solo at the point in time in 2018. But the full trailer, the first trailer for Solo, dropped Monday, February 5th of 2018. It dropped on the Super Bowl. And that being said, the Solo movie comes out May 25th of 2018. 25th. Mando and Grogu comes out the 22nd. And it's not February 5th. The trailer would have came out on February 8th. So already the timeline there didn't really match. It didn't gel. So then I also wanted to look at one other movie. And this is maybe the greatest example to show that maybe Mando and Grogu will be just fine. And that's the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. Do you remember that they like hid that movie so much? And it wasn't until November that they dropped the first trailer for it. And the movie came out in the middle of December. They dropped it like 45 days before the movie even came out. And that movie's the third highest grossing Marvel film. So just because there isn't a trailer doesn't mean that this will not be successful. Spider-Man
Agreed.
movies will sell on their own. Mando and Grogu will sell on their own. But this was what was it, $10 million to get a Super Bowl spot?
Right. That's
And
a big thing to me.
and just to tell us what we already know, that Mando and Grogu are in the film. They go to an ice planet, which we already knew with the AT-ATs. Maybe it's Hoth because we have Tauntauns. But it was that moment of like, they did a wonderful job parodying a Super Bowl commercial. This screams Super Bowl commercial, and it's a parody of it. So they did such a good job understanding like football fans, but I don't think they did a good job understanding Star Wars fans or
Right.
just moviegoers in general. Forget Star Wars fans, moviegoers. When the trailer ended, I looked over to the people I was watching the Super Bowl with, and I'm like, I think that's just a tie-in commercial for like a beer ad. We're gonna get like, I don't know, maybe 3 commercial breaks later.
Right.
This is just a tee up for the actual trailer that we're gonna get, right before halftime. And that was it. So it's very puzzling, I think.
Right. So, real quick, what's up, Star Wars Collective? Hope you are having a good night. And then Michael is dead on. I agree. I think Tommy is pretty dead on. He's got a whole video with some good takes in it. My big thing, right? I remember a time, and like, no trailer doesn't mean that the movie's bad. I mean, that's, it's just purely marketing. But a good trailer will draw people to the theater. And I remember a time when the Super Bowl, again, I don't care really about broadcast sports. I don't really watch a lot. But you'll get me to watch the Super Bowl because of these trailers. It is like the big marketing thing of the year. If you got your movie trailer on the Super Bowl, you're going to have a blockbuster, was like the vibe of it. And I just think back to prior years of Super Bowl ads where, I don't know if anyone remembers the Super Bowl ad for Captain America Civil War. That's the one that locks into my brain a lot. They hit you with some shots of the teams facing off in the airport battle, and anytime someone got knocked down in that fight was in the trailer, and you see Iron Man holding up War Machine after he fell in the field, and you're just like, what's going on, and it wasn't, it wasn't a big trailer. It was really, really short, but everyone that had any passive interest in that movie, like, they showed all of the edge of your seat clips, and I just remember the excitement. And the Super Bowl, man, the Super Bowl was where you used to get your first teaser for all the Marvel movies. If it was going to be a summer drop, the trailer was in the Super Bowl. That's how they gave you the first look. And Marvel didn't even appear this year. And we're supposed to be getting, the Star Wars summer, late spring, early summer blockbuster with the Mando and Grogu. And they spend $10 million on this parody Budweiser ad. And I just think it would have been better had this been complemented by a trailer. Like, give us a trailer somewhere in the first half and then remind us about the movie in the second half with this, or vice versa.
Yeah, I think like, if there's anything to break down from what they gave us here, number one, I do think this font is actually really groovy. I quite like it. And I don't think I really decided that I liked it until this little big game spot, as they're titling it. And I think this further confirms that this is indeed Hoth because of the Tauntauns. But other than that, Mando and Grogu, which we know, I do think that this really could have benefited from, a Zeb or just something. It's really plain. It's like, in the same way that a lot of folks didn't like the Stranger Things finale. It's too safe. It's too mundane. It didn't do anything to shake it up, and it didn't do a lot to make it look very exciting either. It's a simple reminder. This is the type of thing that I would see scrolling like at Times Square on like a ticker type of ad. And there's you didn't need the Sam Elliott voiceover. I mean, it's awesome that we got it. Love that. But it does kind of just have that. It's a visual poster, but it doesn't give anything about the story.
Right.
So yeah, this ad by itself is fun. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. If we had a trailer to then supplement it, this is cool. This is a different kind of marketing, because I don't think this would actually be in the movie. This is just like a cool trailer thing advertising the film. But if we had a full length trailer, I was waiting, man, when it was over to say, full trailer online now, and it wasn't there. So
Right. No, and I think Tom Blitz is spitting here. I think the frustration for myself and many others comes from the general lack of marketing. I think 100%. Gen X Brian, Tauntauns are for the win. There's so much going on in life. You're not going to get hung up on the lack of a trailer. And I agree. This is like a first world problem. But, we got Collective. It's time for them to release a banger of the trailer. Imagine being a Star Wars fan at the Super Bowl, seeing some polished and high octane edited trailer. And yeah, that's where I'm at. It's coming out in 3 months. I feel like everything we've seen, all of these clips of Mando and Grogu infiltrating the Imperial base on the snowy planet, that's Act 1. We haven't seen whatever the story of this movie is. This movie's going to open up on Mando and Grogu doing a mission for the New Republic. It's going to be a 20-minute segment. They're going to go back to Delphi base, and then the movie's going to start. And we've got all these rumors, Embo's going to be in it, or, we know Rhoda the Hutt's going to make an appearance. We saw him teased in the one trailer. It's like, it's just time for the real trailer. We had that little teaser, and it's just time for something to hit. But Tommy said, I see the argument. That's just how franchises work. Star Wars is supposed to be a cut above the rest. It's not another franchise. I agree.
Yeah, and I think with what Gen X Brian was saying, he's also absolutely correct at the exact same time of hey, at least we had a teaser. Thank goodness we didn't get this before that teaser. Then it would really stir things up, and then it would really lead to a lot of those tinfoil hat theorists of they're doing so much to hide the real plot of the movie. It's going to be all this crazy stuff. And then when we don't get the crazy stuff, everybody's automatically disappointed because the bar's up here. At least, to Gen X Brian's point, this isn't the very first thing we saw. We know that there's going to be a full-length trailer eventually. We know that they showed Mando and Grogu stuff to those who were at Celebration in Japan. But the other cool thing, and you and I've heard rumblings about this what if on if there is going to be this very big marketing push once they get the Shadow Lord stuff out of the way. Late April, beginning of May, is it just going to be this surge Lego sets that come out on May 1st that we're going to touch on?
Yeah,
I know McDonald's also is lined up to have Mando and Grogu toys. I saw a confirmed list of what their spread is for the whole year.
Yes.
And to me, and this was a big part of Tommy's video, talking about that childhood, the engagement, the thing that got you. And for him, it was a Captain Rex at Target. For me, with the prequel films, it was the McDonald's and Burger King. Actually, it might not have even been McDonald's. I think they were all just Burger King toys.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, I had this little light up Jawa thing when you squeeze. It was a little plush. There were the Burger King watches, if you remember.
I do. Yeah, they came in the can, the cylinders. Yep.
Dude, to this day, I think that's the best, Burger King toy ever. They were those Clone Wars bobbleheads and the ships. So to touch on that, when we went to go see Rise of Skywalker, I went with some college friends and my family. I always try to go with the family because that's what Star Wars is about to me. And it was a really touching moment. I think it's I don't know, maybe top 5 just favorite Star Wars memories where we watched Rise of Skywalker. Everybody was high off of it, regardless of what we think of it now. Dude, there we go.
I had to pull up a photo, but these were legendary.
They were legendary and they're reversible. So I might have been Vader who's on the other side of that
Probably,
one.
Yeah.
So rad. So how about you, man? Which one did you have? I had the Darth Maul and Obi-Wan.
I had a Stormtrooper one, and I think the other side was Han Solo.
Nice.
Or
Okay.
maybe I had two different ones, and one had the Stormtrooper and one had Han Solo. But yeah, the watches were just legendary.
They are. So thanks for pulling that up.
Mhm.
So after Rise of Skywalker's over, we decided to go through McDonald's because they had Rise of Skywalker toys. And I didn't think much of them. But my friend, when he got his, and of course we ordered Happy Meals, we're grown adults, but whatever. And he's like, this is my first ever Star Wars toy. And he got a Chewbacca from Rise of Skywalker.
Nice.
And
Gotta start somewhere.
that impacted me because I always grew up with the toys, and I'm so lucky for that, man. Like truly, I'm so lucky. But to him, he's like 19 years old. He's my college buddy, and it was his first ever Star Wars toy. So even at any age, it can still hit.
Mhm.
So it does make me happy that there is stuff coming. It's just like, where is it now? But we can be patient. That's
Yeah.
what the Jedi teach, right?
Yeah, patience is a virtue.
That's right.
We got Michael. Now he's about to be a grown man getting a Happy Meal every day. Hey, man, you got to get in the set. So,
That's right, man.
and we have the generous Blitz Transmissions running in with a $10 super chat. They, the executives, need to stop being so afraid of taking risks. The Mandalorian took the world by storm in 2019. Why is corporate pretending Star Wars isn't something special? And spit. I mean, that's, yeah, I think back 2019, we had that like triple force Friday. There was three things coming in 2019. We had Jedi Fallen Order, we had Rise of Skywalker, we had the Mandalorian. And the one that became the biggest phenomena for years afterwards has been the Mandalorian. There's a lot of gaming fans, but nowhere near as many gamers as there are people that go to the cinema and make $1 billion movie, make that $1 billion. I just this is Star Wars's return to theaters. It's Disney deviating from the sequel era, which is what everyone has been asking for them to do. Not everyone, not me, but they've kind of said, hey, this era is popular. This era is what people want to see. Man, I mean, I forget these 30-minute AI, chatbot ads that I keep getting on YouTube every time I pull up a video. Like, there needs to be Mando and Grogu teasers everywhere. Like you said, in Times Square, there needs to be a GIF of these Tauntauns running on Times Square on every board. And, this needs to be every commercial break. I just remember getting to the end of the Super Bowl and I'm like, wow, there wasn't one trailer that had me like excited for something, and so I think there was just disappointment about the Super Bowl in general, but yeah, I just wanted something,
Yeah, it's so weird hearing that like there's going to be Embo in the film potentially. That's a rumor of rumors. I don't even know where that rumor comes from, to be honest. But like,
yeah, I don't know that I entirely believe it, but still, I mean,
part
show
of
me
me
something.
always thinks it's like one of those Filoni code words, like he used Plo Koon for Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker infamously. I feel like it's going to be something like that. But I think about those things where it sounds like it's going to be for your diehards because you have your own man-to-man species amongst other things, Dejaric pieces. But like, then I see this, and it's such a general audience thing, and I feel like this movie is going to have, maybe it's going to be like a Skeleton Crew thing where it's like they're going to throw you a few really deep cuts. They're going to throw you the holiday special deep cuts.
Yeah.
That they did. They're going to throw Teak in there from the the Ewok films.
Oh yeah.
But then I feel like that well dries up, and then it's just, oh, Skeleton Crew is a very digestible film for Star Wars fans of all ages to enjoy, and it might invoke nostalgia from the '80s for those who lived it. I feel like this is going to be that more so than it's going to be anything like any of the Mando seasons in particular.
Right.
Also, and this could be a hot take, how do you outdo the Battle of Mandalore from season 3? Crashing a light cruiser down on a Mandalore, how do you get more epic than that? So I've always wondered, I know that the guy in the suit, Brendan Wayne, has talked great things about this upcoming film and how proud he is, but I feel like this does need to top things on a scale level. I don't think it can be a small adventure. But
Right.
that's just me. What are your expectations in terms of scale for this film?
I don't think it's going to be the big event that season 3 was. So something that you had commented on this is that you like the font. You finally came to like the font, and
It's groovy, man.
it
Yeah,
is. So the fun thing with that font, is my show is just the poster for the movie. The general vibe that it gives me is classic Western. It's on the yellowy paper, and that was kind of the vibe with Mando season 1 in general. Was it was kind of just an adventure of the week. It was kind of just watching any old Western show. You go to your grandparents' house one weekend and they got the broadcast antenna, the bunny ears on the TV, and the only thing they're getting is old Westerns that no one watches anymore. And it's just a classic, a classic Phantom Menace Dennis here. He loves the adventure font and the vibe of it. Yeah. This
yeah.
looks like a classic old 50s Western vibe. And there's a part of me that thinks that this movie truly is going to be like, it's going to feel like they took 4 episodes of The Mandalorian and just cut out the intros and outros. Like they had a story, they made it into a movie, kind of like the Clone Wars movie. It was going to be the first arc, and then they just kind of were like, what about a movie? And so I don't think that's bad. I think that this needs to perform and just show that there is an interest in Star Wars returning to the theater. But the downside to that is if you're not advertising it in any way, why are people going to go to the theater? They need to draw people in. This, one of the things that I love about the Solo movie is it's kind of a contained thing. You don't need to have watched any of the other Star Wars movies. You can just sit down and be like, I kind of just want to watch Star Wars. And there's references throughout, but they're not plot, directing references.
Interestingly enough, every person that I've ever showed Star Wars to, and it is a great honor when you get to show somebody Star Wars when they
Yeah.
acknowledge, you know what, I'm gonna go on this journey that you always hype up and talk about. Every time I show somebody the films, Solo is always their favorite, and I
Yeah.
think it is because, and these are newcomers to the franchise, keep in mind, but I do think it has something to do with the self-contained adventure, like you're talking about.
Right. This, I think of like the retitle from The Mandalorian to The Mandalorian and Grogu is kind of akin to like the Netflix Daredevil going to Daredevil Born Again. Yes, it's a continuation, but it's also like a reset. Mando and Grogu, Mandalore said, "Hey, go teach that kid some lessons," and he's like, "All right." And so now they're letting Mandalore rebuild, and they're off doing their own little thing now. New Republic sending them on some missions, and I think this movie, Blitz agrees. It's going to be a Clone Wars style movie, just Star Wars fun, something for the next generation. And I think 100% this movie needs to sell some toys to some kids. And this movie is going to be something that we just go to and we have fun watching. And it's going to be a good movie to pop on Disney Plus while you're doing some action figure rearranging in the collection room. It's a good listener later on. And, it's I think the vibes are going to be really good with it. But it also needs to perform, hopefully, to get the Disney executives to, get their head out of the sand and allow Dave Filoni to do that, Avengers team up Thrawn movie, the Heir to the Empire movie.
Yeah, I mean, I am also comfortable if this is just a cute little adventure. I mean, I do prefer Mando season 1 to any other season just because of how contained it is and how, tight it is narratively. But, going back to what somebody had said in the chat earlier, but this is also Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
they spent billions in order to get this, to be able to make new Star Wars, they spent billions. So then to just make mundane projects with it is odd. Whereas like with Lucas making the Clone Wars movie, He tried his hand at Clone Wars with Tarkovsky, realized there was something there, did it again with the Clone Wars movie, and had a whole series lined up, ready to go. So as soon as you're done watching that movie, you can then skirt on over to Cartoon Network and watch the continuation. Part of
Yep.
my worry is Mandalorian and Grogu, what's that continuation going to be like? You know,
Yeah. What's next?
we have Ahsoka. Are there going to be those tie-ins? And I think that they always play the hokey pokey with Carson Teva of like, that's the guy who's going to show up in Skeleton Crew if anybody is going to show up, and he's in uh, Ahsoka, but he's also in Mando. So I really just hope this is that film where they do start weaving the greater story together, even if they don't pay off the greater story. Even if we set up a battle for another day, I hope this is where we start weaving it together so the kids that do grow up with this movie can easily go and watch not just Mandalorian Grogu, but all the other Mandoverse stuff. And they can start to have that continuous story like we got with the Clone Wars and the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah, my speculation, right later this year we're getting Ahsoka season 2. Super amped on that, and that kind of seems to be like the end of the slate for now. There's really not a lot of other stuff that's like confirmed rolling. And I've heard people be like, well, they're waiting to see how Mando and Grogu and Ahsoka season 2 do, and I'm like, I don't think Star Wars is canceled if they don't do well, but I also don't see a world where they don't do well. But this Dave Filoni movie that's been postponed, but also now he's in charge of Lucasfilm, or co-in charge of Lucasfilm, where I think maybe he can make that decision for himself going forward. But it's just we've had this interconnected storyline going on that feels like a lead up to the Avengers in a way. Where we've gotten all these characters, and they've done a really good job of showing that the New Republic has corruption in it already, like 8 years in. And, the storyline that I've just been anticipating going on is, the Chimera is just going to drop out of hyperspace over Coruscant, and the New Republic's going to be like, yeah, it's not a problem, and Carson Teva's going to have to pull out his phone and start calling all these numbers he's been accumulating over these last couple of shows, and he's going to be like our Agent Coulson in a way.
There you go.
And that's been my speculation. But, we got to, I think for now, the big thing is just, out of fear that some of those rumors that they're waiting to see how well these do to continue it go, it's like, well, then I'd like to see them promote this movie and try and help it do well.
To wrap up the topic, you want to pull up Phantom Menace Dennis's comment? I thought this was really good.
Do you think they may be intentionally going very minimal to avoid 3 months of social media tearing it down? Because no matter how good the trailer is, he feels like that would happen. And honestly, I can 100% see that there's no one more vicious than a Star Wars fan.
And they already did it with the teaser. There were plenty of people that were so underwhelmed by the teaser.
Yeah, I agree. No matter what you release, there's always going to be that one really loud person talking about how terrible it is. And I just, I agree. I agree that there's potentially fear of that, but I also would share that this wasn't going to be getting a lot of positivity from anyone. Like,
that's a good point. This does feel, it feels kind of last minute, but that's impossible because the Super Bowl, you need to submit your advertisements ahead of time. They don't just do these things very last second. So, yeah, man, I think from here, I say let's look at some good. I think we check out these Lego sets that come out on May 1st and maybe try to see what good we can pull from what we have coming up with Mando and Grogu.
So here's my mom. Do not worry. So we were just doing that Star Wars thing where we complain about everything. So it was Vincent's idea.
It was. Hey, thank you for joining.
And I'm watching the chat. Be correct. So. All right, so these leaked yesterday, but then as I understand, they got revealed today because some of the bigger pages were actually like sharing the photos. But we have some Mando and Grogu Lego sets coming up. And I don't do a lot of Lego. Oftentimes, what Lego I do get is found in the clearance aisle after it's a few years out. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'll spoil a recent pickup, but this pack that came out like 2 years ago with the Phase 2 clones in it, a set I wanted for a while, but I just don't do it. I found it at Meyer on sale for $17.99 like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, you know what, it can finally come home.
Yes, sir.
But I guess let's start. We got the ATRT attack. Vincent, what are your initial thoughts? I know we've yapped a little bit about it already.
Yeah, it always gets me excited when you do this because it's things about to get real. But yeah, man. So I grew up as a Lego kid. I really was not an action figure kid unless you count Galactic Heroes as action figures. But I was always a Lego kid. So to me, I very much associate my memory of the films and my excitement of the films based on your leaked Lego sets. For me, I associate Lego with Kylo Ren's attack shuttle from Force Awakens. And when I saw that image, I got so ridiculously excited for what Force Awakens could mean because I fell in love with that ship design through Lego. So I always like looking at the sets prior to the movies just to see what little details you can get from them or what you're going to get excited about.
For
And
sure.
I think the star of this set is delivering on that promise of, hey, Mando riding an ATRT is pretty damn cool, and we're going to capitalize on being able to put that on your shelf. It's like it almost gives that same excitement of seeing Boba Fett ride a bantha, and it's like, and then they made toys of it, and
Yeah.
here Mando on an ATRT is just super cool because it blends the genres, original trilogy with prequel trilogy, and it blends them perfectly. On top of that, you get a really cool new trooper here, which I at first thought was an AT-ACT pilot, knowing that there are AT-ATs in the film. But
Right.
seeing
It's
as this is
different.
an AT-AT set, I was like, well, who is this guy? And Hybrid, I believe you identified him as an AT-RT driver for the Imperials.
So it's fuzzy, but I'm looking at a really big picture. It says Imperial Remnant ATRT driver. So, in looking at the printing for the armor, so the helmet appears to be a shore trooper helmet,
Yes.
but the printing for the armor doesn't reminisce anything that I've seen before. I believe, especially given the terrain here, is probably a bulkier, heavier armor. So this is revealing a new type of trooper that's going to appear in this movie, something that would have been cool to see in a trailer. And it's already got me itching for a new Black Series, not going to lie.
Well, we were also talking about that Black Series Scarif Stormtrooper helmet and how you
Yeah.
can't really repaint that into much. And Lord knows Hasbro loves to do their repaints with the helmets. So I would be all in for essentially a white Scarif Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I think anytime you make an Imperial Trooper all white or all black, it just works because that is the Empire.
Yeah.
And I believe you also said that this is a new body for Grogu as well.
Yes, really quick. What's up, Stone Mando? Glad to see you pop up, and hello to the chat as well. You're not missing much, and knock that off, Mom.
Hey, what's up, Cody? Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah. So yeah, this print, again, it's little, it's blurry, but you can tell with the Grogu minifigure. Previously, Grogu minifigures were the standard like Lego baby, so like the hands are like both like straightforward out like this, and so with this new minifigure, he's got his hands down at his sides, and then it seems like the collar of his like canvas bag outfit is actually like sculpted on, so it seems like Grogu is going to be a unique piece. And it's hard to tell with the head of the minifigure, but potentially the head is the same, just new body to stick it on.
Right.
But otherwise, Mando kind of looks the same, unless there's some minute printing details, but he's got the pistol, he's got the arm printing, he's got his jetpack on here.
I know they're giving him new weapons in this film, but I'm kind of surprised just from the marketing that Mando's outfit isn't like changed whatsoever.
Yeah. I think I saw there's like a promo photo going around where, like Mando's armor is a little bit of a mismatch. The chest plate, the shoulders, and the helmet are a set, but then like his thigh plates, are mismatched, and they have like residual brown paint on them. I saw a promo photo out there of like him standing in some kind of metal room where the thigh plates are now chromed out too. They're the original mismatches, but it's like he finally like finished stripping the paint off of them.
Yeah.
So at least like they're all chrome and shiny. But looking here, I guess it's just hard to tell because it's still like the brown minifigure legs with a print on it. So I can't tell like where the print stops or if the print turns brown because they're brown legs and it's fuzzy.
Right.
Something I do kind of like about this set is, the ATRTs have a tendency to be humongous in Lego. And this one is still definitely like too big, for the general nature of minifig scale. But we've gotten some clone, some clone battle packs for the ATRT is like 12 inches tall, and then you got your inch tall minifigure sitting on it, and it's like, at least it's not that, drastic a difference.
Yeah, and I love those Lego sets where, you do get a build for the enemy as well.
Yes.
And when we look at this next set, yeah, it's kind of small, but at least they gave some sort of build for the enemy to be able to tackle. So it looks like it's one of those E-web cannons.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a Hoth turret, sort of.
Yeah, almost like almost like the stormtroopers took over the Echo base after they stormed the Echo base, and that would actually be really cool to see them like operating out of the
Yeah.
base. I'd love that.
Well, by rule of dibs, it's theirs now. So
Exactly,
but,
they're squatters.
right. The Empire has squatters' rights. Who knew?
Who knew?
But yeah, no, I mean it's cool. I also like all the paneling has like some like weathering on it where you can definitely tell this is old. And I like how it says Imperial Remnant ATRT driver specifically. So this isn't like this isn't like that sect that Moff Gideon's at where they somehow are getting fresh troopers, Like this is this is definitely like a general and 100 stormtroopers that have been holed up in a base since the second Death Star blew up. Like they're just clearing out.
Right.
So it's old equipment, and they're just dealing with it. But no, I generally like the idea of this set. What do you feel about the $45?
$45 is steep,
It
and we
is.
just saw an ATRT released this past fall, and it was with the 327 Star Core, and it was also $45. You get 4 327 Star Core figs, one being like a special unit, the other 3 being your regs, and then you did get battle droids to go with it. So in terms of figure value, it's not here because right here it is a lot better in terms of the value.
And a similar size walker. Actually, I'm noticing. I don't have this set yet, but the leg it's definitely a similar, smaller than the norm. ATRT.
Most definitely. And I'll be honest though, I do prefer the builds for the enemy with the Mando and Grogu set. I think the Hoth turret's really cool. I think you can get a lot of use out of that, especially if you already have some sort of Hoth display.
Yeah.
On a story level, I think this confirms that it is Hoth because AT-ATs have been on other planets. And there's also so many snow planets. There's Vandor and Solo. There's that snowy planet where Mayday is on with Crosshair from the Bad
Yeah.
Batch. I mean, so snow planets, they're plentiful. There's always the one from Clone Wars with Tucci and
Iago. No, that was the planet that had the mines in space around it.
Right, Pantora.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, there's tons of snowy planets, and I think the Tauntauns from the big game spot. You were saying earlier off camera that there could be off-world Tauntauns, just like there's off-world Jawas. So
yeah,
the Tauntauns to me didn't also make it that hey, this is Hoth, but I think seeing that build of that turret declares it that this is finally Hoth.
Maybe. I mean, that may and also for what it's worth, with the trailer for the Super Bowl, maybe the one thing to glean from it, well, maybe Tauntauns aren't exclusive to Hoth. Maybe they are on other planets. Maybe they're not from Hoth at all, and the Rebels brought them to Hoth. But maybe potentially, just by maybe this is like, the Empire, hold up in Echo Base or, a similar outpost. Again, we don't really know anything about the location, but, the equipment left behind is correct. And then maybe it was a case of they had a CG Tauntaun model already, and it made it easier for them to use it for the trailer. But Dennis wonders what a Tatooine Tauntaun would look like. I'm guessing shaved. So I'm guessing they wouldn't be quite as furry. And they probably smell bad on the outside. I ponder. Yeah, I guess I do ponder. I mean, maybe this could be Hoth. Not that every snowy planet has to be Hoth, but I guess we'll know in a couple months. So
I guess so. But this next set, it's really growing on me, like significantly.
You decided you like it?
Not for $150.
Yeah, for $150 is definitely the.
Yeah, I think it was the Onyx Cinder, the Skeleton Crew set. You get all the figs like that you could ask for, and I don't think it has a. You know what? I take that back. I don't think it has an SM-33, but I think you get Jod and the 4 kids, so your main cast. And I think that set was like 120, 130. This is 150. You get a nondescript stormtrooper with a pauldron. You do get Zeb. You do get this. What's Sigourney Weaver's name again in the film?
Ooh. Oh well, that's too early. I was gonna see if there's this better.
Yeah.
I know they've said what her name is. I'll Google it.
Okay. I think for some reason Bishop's coming to mind, but I could be way off base. So I think the build actually looks solid. It's a cutified version of the past Razor Crest that we got, and I think it looks really well rounded. There's not a lot of studs showing. It's very sealed off. It has this great iconic Razor Crest shape to it, despite being miniaturized. But I think it's the figs. I think it's that stormtrooper going against your main cast from this film just isn't exciting enough. I think if there was a main villain from the film, this would be the place. Yeah, this is the place, not just some lonely stormtrooper with a pauldron. I mean, God bless him, but he's going to get obliterated by who he's going up against here.
Right. Really quick. How you doing, 123 Customs? We basically just missed us complaining about the Super Bowl trailer. So scroll Instagram, you'll hear all our points.
It's going to be a lot of positive stuff going forward. We got Maul Shadow Lord on the docket.
Yeah,
among some other things. So,
Blitz is saying inflation, tariffs, and licensing fees are a deadly combo for Star Wars right now.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So my big thing with this set, like any other Lego Star Wars set anymore, is just how little it is. And so, what was it? 2021 was Mando season 2. I remember I treated myself for my birthday because my mom doesn't love me enough to buy me Legos anymore. I ordered a couple days before my birthday the Amazon exclusive Razor Crest from Mando season 1 and 2. That's the one that comes with a Mando and Grief Karga and a couple other figures, I feel. But it was like $120, and it's just bigger than this set. And it's a really nice displaying set for what it is, for it just being a one-off. And then I look at this set, and it's only been a couple of years, and I know inflation, whatever, but it's only been like 3 or 4 years, and it's $30 more, and it looks like it's only like 3/4 the size. And, the minifigure selection doesn't upset me so much as just the model being tiny does. I think Mando, Zeb, and Grogu are essentials for this. It's nice that we're getting Colonel Ward. That's her name.
Ward. Thank you.
I don't mind there being one stormtrooper thrown in as much, because that's not Lego's first time doing that. There's a lot of times where they got to give you some opposition, and it's always one-sided because the set is for one side or the other. I think back to the Rebels Ghost. It was like the entire Rebels crew and then one stormtrooper, and it's like, well, That's not very fair, but but then you buy the Stormtrooper Troop Transport Battle Pack, and then you even it up a little bit.
You are spitting. I cannot deny that constantly they will just wedge one like army builder character in a larger set. And correct me if I'm wrong, the original Razor Crest, I believe it did come with the Stormtrooper. It was IG-11, Grief Karga,
I think
Mando,
you're spitting.
and I think it was just a regular ASS Stormtrooper. So
yeah, I don't remember offhand because I've just had it sitting in a D12 since I built it like 3 years ago. But
maybe this is just carrying the torch of that set, trying to follow in its footsteps, because that
right.
one had 4 figs. This has 4 figs. So maybe it's not a surprise.
Yeah, so it was Mando, episode 1 Mando at that, Grief Karga, a Scout Trooper, and then IG-11 in that original Grogu minifigure. No.
Okay, Scout Trooper.
Just looking for $30 more, like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just comparing that to this.
I'm not going to lie to you. When you do it that way, they actually look about the same size. Maybe I'm tripping. But
no, I don't know. I mean, and it's not like a giant set, but I feel like the new one is only as long as maybe like the back of the engines on it, is like the vibe. I guess it's a different angle too, but
maybe
the cockpit probably is the same piece. Probably it looks like.
Yeah.
That's definitely like the same piece, but it just feels so much bigger on this overall build. Whereas on this one, it feels like there's a lot of build behind it.
I think seeing the characters off to the side in the old Razor Crest helps. Seeing the like Mando flying above it there, we know how small a minifig is. It makes it look smaller retroactively. Like they look way bigger than the figs, but then on the other one, not so much. So it might just be as simple as character staging, but I will admit, got to give flowers. The way they just round this ship off, they square it off. Not as many studs showing, not as many awkward gaps you can, stick a brick separator in. I will admit, I think the build here looks more solid. It's just
maybe
at the cost of being tinier, which is the constant plight, I guess, of any collector.
Right. We got collectors saying Lego collectors are on another level. Some of that stuff is pricey, to say the least. My guy, you are spitting. I like Lego on occasion, but the reason it's on occasion is it's kind of like getting a top shelf bottle of booze. You just can't drink that every week. It's just not feasible. But one looks stubby. I think I agree. And maybe until we get some in-hand photos where you get some different angles of it.
Mm-hmm.
Blitz is asking, do we know the piece count? And it looks like 930 pieces.
Woof.
And then I guess that's out of curiosity is how many pieces is the old one?
I would hope over 1,000. I mean, so I used to work at the Lego store. I used to work as a brick specialist working retail. And, I had talked to many parents about when they didn't really know what set to get. And I'd always just say, hey, go for the one that has more pieces. If they're the same price, choose one that has more pieces. It's always more bang for your buck based off the piece count. But at my time at Lego, I really did see that except for non-licensed sets like Lego City, Lego Friends, if it was licensed like Marvel or Star Wars, gone are the days of 100 pieces per $10.
Oh yeah, which that was never Lego's rule to begin with. That's just like a fan thing in the first place. People look back at that like 2010 era, and that was the average for a set, and so now they use it 15 years later to have just an additional point on why we're worse. Also, the original Razor Crest was 1,023 pieces, so it's about 100 pieces more.
There you go. So okay, not bad. I don't know where those pieces went because it looks tinier, but
probably things like the engine details being made of like a bunch of little pieces, where on this one it's like one big rounded piece with less texture.
I do apologize. I thought you were saying the new version has more pieces.
Oh no, the new one's got 100 less, which is the trend with Lego sets in general.
That's my fault. I was like, where did the 100 new pieces go on this one? I don't see them.
Yep, nope, 100 taken away.
Yeah, so it's tough justifying a set by piece count nowadays. I feel like you just can't justify it that way anymore, and that sucks. I think that's always a good metric. because when you see a pattern in place like that, it's good. I doubt there's a lot of pieces here that were molded just for this set in specific. So,
Probably, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Zeb's face. Other than that, I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I guess my question for you is, now that you're seeing the yellow Razor Crest in action more, are you a fan?
I like it. I do. My whole thing is like with Mando. I guess I was just kind of waiting for it to happen, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems every Mandalorian has like a clan color or just a color palette. You know, Boba Fett likes his green, and anyone in House Kryze uses that kind of like powder blue. And you know, Mando's big thing throughout all of season 1 and even into season 2 was upgrading his armor. He was getting new pieces, new attachments, and I guess I was just waiting for him to stop being the only silver one, and it just hasn't happened. And it's an iconic look at this point because we've got 3 seasons and now a movie. But you know, I was always kind of waiting for it to happen, and it seems his ship is getting it before he is. So,
well, what I love about this, and I've never seen anybody else talk about this, you have the beautiful, gorgeous Naboo starfighters, and they're yellow and they're striking, and they took the color away from it and they did it all silver N1, and now we see what used to be an all silver ship is now turning yellow like the Naboo starfighter.
Yep.
It's almost like that it was a color swap.
So, Phantom Menace Dennis doesn't know how to use the orange brick separator. I think he used it to pick your teeth. That's generally where I'm at on it.
That was 50% of the job, was teaching
Right.
people how to use that little tool.
Yep. And then Collective thinks the new one looks stubby, or is he tripping? From this angle, I think it is stubby, but I would like to see it at different angles when it comes out.
Yeah, I'll be in the minority on this one. I think the shape's really good, especially when you look at the box image, kind of a 3/4 view of it flying.
Yeah.
I think that's really sharp looking.
Right. Then we have Fenner Armstrong. Hey, fellas, how are you doing? I hope you are enjoying so far. So, yeah, and that, you know, I guess I'm just ultimately curious as to how it comes out in hand. And you know, with the prices of Lego these days, I don't know that I foresee this being added to my collection. I say that when the movie comes out and I'm leaving the theater and I'm praising it as gospel as the next best Star Wars thing ever, I'm gonna have to go to Walmart and buy a toy. That's the tradition. Is, you know, after you leave a Star Wars movie, you got to go put something on the shelf. And I'm sure I'll be caught up on Black Series, so maybe a Lego set might be the choice. If this gets a lot of screen time, maybe. But you know, as of right now, the excitement, you know, is just like it's not there yet. You know,
Yeah.
Maybe if we'd gotten a trailer during the Super Bowl of this thing taking out TIE fighters, maybe. But no, I'm just being facetious there. But
this may sound silly, but for me, this movie's riding on who the villain is. I think if it's just a nondescript Imperial officer guy, that'll really dim my excitement on the film. And I think that's what I was looking for here in these sets. And that's okay. It's going to come. And
rumor is maybe her.
That's what I keep saying. And because I feel like that's what they're making such a big deal on, is her involvement in the film. And when we look at all the things they were talking about at Celebration, she very much was at the forefront of all of it. And it's such a strange get because we've had other New Republic people. Remember when they got Tim Meadows to be a New Republic officer in Mando season 3?
Yeah.
And they didn't make a big stink about it. That's freaking Tim Meadows, man. Like, you could make a big deal about him entering Star Wars, and they didn't. They just treated it like a cameo. But when it comes to Sigourney Weaver, and by the way, she is on a different level in terms of fame than Tim Meadows.
Yeah, she's insane.
She is. She's touching every franchise at this point.
She's actually why they can't afford to make trailers for this movie. She's like 120% of the casting budget. So
maybe, man. So it's an interesting amount of emphasis that they are putting on her involvement in the film, and I do feel like there has to be a lot to that character, and we shall see. But do you want to roll into Maul's Shadow Lord?
Well, I think we got one more set, but
I forgot.
Yep, it's not a very exciting one for me, but it's one to talk about. So, also one little thing to note. This Grogu minifigure has a variant. He is wearing his plate on the outside of the
Good.
tunic.
Good.
And that ties in to this set. We're getting like buildable Grogu number 5 or whatever. And you know, I'm noticing some stuff here. It looks like he's still wearing the dart launcher, so maybe he's hung on to that. And then he's got one of his little blue cookies, and his plate appears to be a printed piece. They're not making us do a sticker there. But yeah, just one of those buildable characters if that's your thing. So
Yeah, they've done a few of these now. I don't hate them. I think it serves its purpose for sure. This one is clocking in at $120, which
yeah,
is, I think in terms of Grogu merch, I just am willing to bet there's going to be better Grogu merch on the market for this movie that's going to be a fraction of the price.
for
So,
sure.
you know, I know that every time they make these Grogus, they sell them at Costco for good $30 under what they retail
Right.
for in the Lego space. So, hey, if this is your deal, I say, you know, wait for Costco. But I think to a lot of people, it's kind of, you know, been there, done that. But for the kiddos, this could be something, you know, worth writing down on their Christmas lists when it comes time.
Really quick, because I just don't want it to get buried. How are you doing, B Sum? He thinks that it looks a little stubby too. Vincent, I think you're getting outvoted here.
I think I am, man. And
I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. So
not to change the subject about me being in the minority on stubbiness. Bsum, I have to shout out Bsum75. He is one of our very few platinum members on the Carbonites website.
nice.
He had just crossed that milestone just the other day, and it's very exciting.
I was the first one.
You were the first one.
I was the first one. I need to set the record straight. I was the first one.
We got to give some flowers. You
Right.
and Tommy from Blitz Transmissions, Bsum as well. And there are two other gents who are like, ooh, they're right on the verge. They're right on the cusp of crossing it.
The cusp of greatness.
Exactly. So thanks so much for stopping by, Bsum. Great to see you.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to drop the Lego topic after this one. Just needed to be pointed out. But we do have this set coming as well. You know, I have the buildable probe droid that came out a couple years ago. I don't go for the buildables too often.
Yeah.
But I found it on clearance at Walmart like 2 years ago, whatever, and I was like, oh hey, for $40, sure. And it was actually a pretty fun build. It's a really detailed model, so that was fun.
Yeah, the probe droid's cool. That was a neat one because it has like this Ultimate Collector Series feel to it, but they didn't give it that label, but they gave it the plaque, and that plaque just feels so commemorative. I was always kind of geeked about the buildable Droidica that they did recently. Have you seen that one?
Yes, yep, that's a really cool set too.
Yeah, I think it was on sale on Amazon around Black Friday for like $35, and I was this close, man.
So we got here from Jihan Cop. Yo, I just saw your Quinlan video. You didn't get them off of Amazon, did you? Nope, I did not. I saw the Wave was in stock at a site called CMD Store. I'm about to leak my source. CMD Store is based in Canada, but they're in like the Niagara Falls kind of area. So not exactly. They're a little more like northeast, but just generally that like across from New York area. And a lot of times I can order from them and it takes like 2 days to get through customs, and then I have it a day or two later, and they have gotten Waves a month before retailers in the US before. So it's a little bit more expensive, but yeah, I got the whole set. So we'll talk a little more later on, but yeah, I got Quinlan, I got Seventh Sister coming up tomorrow, Jedi Dooku, Kyle Katarn. I've got all the reviews done. And they are looking really, really good. It's a really good set of figures.
You know, there is such a hustle involved with trying to find these figures early, and it's something that I really respect about you guys that review action figures, is finding it early and sometimes taking that gamble by going to an outside source to get them in. So, and all I know is that you got some really exciting stuff coming up next few days.
Oh yeah, we're having a good week.
Yeah.
So
you guys are for a treat.
Yep. And then Blitz says the Grogu looks terrifying. I kind of agree. There's something like I like the buildable droids, because like they lend themselves to being made out of parts and pieces, whereas you get like an organic character like Grogu in there, and you're just like, ooh. It's like all of the Yodas, the Chewbacca, like they're all a little bit cursed, but
That they are.
But Michael is jealous. I have seventh sister in hand. Yep, she's here, and she's good. She's a good figure. I have nothing bad to. I mean, I'm gonna spoil all these reviews, but they're all good figures. Like if anyone was kind of like waiting to see the results, the in hand opinions, like they're all good. Go lock them down. All right. So we were talking about transitioning over to Maul Shadow Lord. So we have. Let me do a screen share here, but we have had a lot of cool Shadow Lord stuff going on.
I feel like, this supplements the lack of Mando and Grogu, which in a way makes sense because this comes out before Mando and Grogu. And I think that's nice. But what's even cooler than the promos of the toys, I think what's cooler than the toys is the marketing itself. I love all these like watercolory, really just the Maul branding. It does take me back to those Phantom Menace marketing days, and I wasn't even alive for that time. But just the silhouette of his eyes, or the Sith tattoos being like on the packaging for the card back. This is metal. This is sick.
Right, everything. We're seeing a lot of red on these toys here for a little bit, and but no, I mean I'm incredibly excited. So they dropped that trailer. Trailer looks awesome. It's one of those good trailers where by the end of the trailer you're like, I don't know anything that's about to happen, but they just showed you a bunch of really cool stuff, and just in the most vaguest way, that Inquisitors are after Maul and Maul's rebuilding, his criminal empire, and he's found a new planet to do it, and there's like, a veteran cop, that's not going to let him do it is the vibe, and I'm really, really amped on this show, dude. This is going to be so much fun. We were talking last night about like titling this, and I'm like, man, I'm more excited for Shadow Lord right now. We've seen more, and they're starting to reveal some toys for it, and it's just going to be exciting. But do we want to take a look at the Funkos?
Yeah, man. I think there was one Funko that we were having a hard time finding a picture of, and it was.
I'm gonna go to a different Funko page, and hopefully.
Yeah, it's of they're labeling him as the Crow, which is one of the Inquisitors, the 11th brother, I believe. And he's awesome. I think that's the one I want to see the most of, which is saying something because he kind of died pretty quickly at the hands of Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi. But I also think his involvement in this show gives us the greatest idea as to the timeline of the show as well.
Yes.
The Crow Inquisitor dies by the hands of Ahsoka in that episode of Tales of the Jedi. So in that episode, while it's unclear how much time passes with Ahsoka hanging out in that village, the prologue of that episode of her at Padme's funeral is right after Revenge of the Sith. So this to me further sends that message that this is pretty quick after Revenge of the Sith. But there's also TK Troopers, which tells me it's also a little bit after the Bad Batch is beginning. We don't get TK Troopers till the end of season 1 of Bad Batch.
Yeah, no, this is probably we're talking 1 year after Revenge. The Empire is still clutching, trying to grab where it can, but hasn't gotten very far out of the core systems yet. And and then my guess with the Ahsoka Tales of the Jedi timeline, we see that end of Revenge. She's at Padme's funeral, but it feels pretty clear there's a good time jump. She's probably been working on that farm for a year or two at that point too. She's been out of the action for a minute, just laying low. But Yeah, it's cool to finally get some kind of merch for this guy. We'll talk about it again in a little bit, but they just revealed a vintage collection for him too, which makes me feel like a Black Series is all but imminent. Um, these were our promos. There was a day that they were going to be showing the Shadow Lord stuff, and so they showed us Icarus and the Crow. Icarus is interesting. He appears to just be another red Zabrak, so it'll be cool to see where he ultimately plays in. He's got a minigun, which automatically makes him the coolest video game character you could get.
Yeah, this guy's made to design toys for sure.
Yep. And then there's the standard mainline Maul, and so he's going to have his double-bladed Clone Wars lightsaber, came back somehow. Interesting expression. You don't see a lot of teeth on Funkos often, but they seem to have done a good job here. They did a really good job making his eyes look like they're like legit glowing.
Yes, they did. They do Sith eyes really well in general.
Yeah. I like also how the numbers have like the red bleeding in on the box design. It's very, very much in tune with the animation style.
And this whole show is just so moody with its colors, and I love how that is transitioning perfectly onto the boxes.
Right. I've said it before. Bliss is spitting. They're the first pops in a long time that have piqued his interest. I'm with you. These are of interest.
Yeah, dude.
And then we got Stone saying he might pick some of these up. He doesn't normally do pops, so they are appealing. What are you, a Darth Maul fan or something? I might like Darth Maul. Check out Stone Mando's review, everyone. He just got the Hot Toys Mandalorian. I saw he did a short form like reel, and I need to throw out Stone. I know we've talked before. Like editing, sometimes isn't always like the forte. Sometimes it's just the video going up. That reel that you put up had some awesome transitions in it. I loved the voiceover on it. I was meaning to drop a comment on it, but it showed up when I was scrolling with an alt. So I meant to come back with the hybrid account, and I just haven't done it yet. But that reel that you did was awesome. So just need to be very complimentary there.
Yeah, Stone doesn't give himself enough credit. I know he calls himself Caveman Cody, but he does some great transitions, great editing. Yeah, he's one wicked talented guy.
Yep. No, anytime, man. I say it when I see it, and I saw it. So it was a good video. I need to go and watch the full review. But these are just really cool. I've said it before about I've always felt the Clone Wars animation style is just like a little overhyped. Where and again, like I watched the show, I like the show, I think it looks good, but you'll have people like
where are you going with this?
You'll have people in conversation with the bros, be like, man, I want them to make this show. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. You want a show about this character. And they're like, yeah, and I want it to be like in this timeline, in this place, and you're like, yep, okay, that sounds interesting. And in Clone Wars animation style. And I'm like, why? Like, I mean, it could be, and that'd be fine, but it's like why can't we explore anything else? Like why does it always have to be in Clone Wars animation style?
I hear you saying that, but you are not a fan of Star Wars Visions, which explored multiple versions of animation.
Not because of the animation styles as much as just the storylines didn't,
Okay.
I mean, I like the Rebels style. I like the influence, from the original concept art. The Ralph McQuarrie styling is really cool.
Yes, I agree.
And here we got Fenrir. Clone Wars 2D better than 3D is a hot take, but who's saying that they wouldn't take something that looks like Clone Wars 2D, get that Tarkovsky style in for like a mini series or something? I mean, come on, it doesn't always have to be this 08 Clone Wars style.
How do you feel about Star Wars Resistance's animation? Because that's one that I will defend.
It's an interesting style. It's kind of it weirdly feels like 2D but fluid, like it almost doesn't feel like it's completely 3D, but it's not 2D either. I kind of like it, the content's a little rough, but the style itself is fine.
I think I don't even mean to just like peg a certain Star Wars show and say like this is the worst. That's not what the conversation's about. But I would happily take anything from Visions to Resistance to Rebels to Clone Wars to Bad Batch. The one Star Wars animated show that just does not even like evoke any creativity in my brain is Forces of Destiny. That
that's kind
ultra
of rough.
flat 2D big-eyed, animation just doesn't do it. But I like that Galaxy of Adventures animation on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Even that is like totally cool with me.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying. Star Wars animation, even down to Tarkovsky, even down to like that really weird Star Wars Detours canceled project. I mess with all of that. Even the Lego animation Star Wars, I think is good. At first, I was a little worried. I thought you were gonna say like Clone Wars animation just is not good. I was like, "Oh, do you say it?"
I've said it before for like the shock value. I think
Oh,
it's fine, but I guess the point that I was getting at here is with this show is I like that it's not traditional Clone Wars animation style because it's supposed to be like a story from Maul's perspective. So it's rough, it's jagged. There's the reds are vibrant and everything else is dark, and there's like there's a roughness to the aesthetic of it, and I really grit, and I love everything about how this show looks. How it's not just another Clone Wars show. There's a visual tweak to it, and I'm just excited. It looks really good. As Phantom Menace Dennis is saying, it's edgy, and I feel that describes it. It does.
it's the Snoke quote. Raw, untamed potential.
Yeah.
It just has that raw edge to it that is so. It's already evoking more emotion than it is, saying anything outright. Maul walking off the ship with the cloak and the saber igniting. It's like it's going to happen before it even happens. It is just, and I think what's beautiful about the animation, it matches the timeline that Star Wars is in when the show takes place.
It's the dark times.
It's the dark times. It's the lawless times. It's a change in regime, which means opportunity. And he's seeing that with this young Jedi Twi'lek, which, I'm concerned about the show. I really do not want to see Maul be heroic, and I think Star Wars never commits to the villain being the villain. I'm a little concerned that by him rescuing this Jedi girl, it's either going to come off as he's an opportunist, like he does with Ezra, or he's just playing the long game. But when he's with Ezra, he reveals himself immediately. He gets Ezra helps him get into the Jedi Temple, and then he reveals himself immediately and betrays, Ezra and Kanan. At the end, or at the Holocron episode, Holocrons of Fate, as soon as he sees Obi-Wan, he dips Ezra, he leaves him, and he
doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, he immediately reveals himself. Maul keeps up the jig of being the good guy for maybe 20 minutes, and then he reveals himself as the mastermind. I do think with this show, they're going to be playing the long game. Maul's going to be fostering in this new, Jedi Padawan, and that might be a slow burn until he reveals himself to be this awful person.
Yeah,
maybe more like the Penguin HBO show in that sense. But
he needs to be a full-fledged villain.
Thank you, Dennis. Absolutely. If he's at all being heroic or siding with the lawman guy that seems to be maybe an antagonist for the show.
I don't see that. Not at all. No, Maul's here to cause problems, is what he's here to do.
I would hope so, but then when you have the Empire, we see the Empire is a POS. In the Bad Batch, they portray the Empire is so awful and so irredeemable. And I feel like they're then going to make Maul maybe look better than the Empire. And that's what I'm really uncertain of. But maybe I'm off base.
My guess here, we see in Solo, he is the leader of Crimson Dawn. He's basically a mob boss. And I think we're going to see him start steering that way, where, he is going to be earning favors from all the criminal underworld people. And that's why the cops are after him, because he's committing crime, as attracts many a cop. And, no, this is going to be Maul. He's going to rescue the Twi'lek girl. She's been captured by the Empire, and it's not out of the goodness of his heart. It's, hey, they're coming after the Jedi. How about you stop being a Jedi and run with me? The same way that he was trying to sway Ahsoka in the Clone Wars finale. Like, You know, he wasn't doing it out of the goodness of his heart. You know, he saw someone that could help him fight some enemies. You know, is all it was. He's looking for an ally, but not an equal.
What I hope this is the Cad Bane arc from Tales of the Underworld, where we
Uh-huh.
make you like him, but he is an awful person.
Oh yeah.
I hope
No.
what this isn't is the Ventress arc, where Ventress realizes that, you know, her old way isn't working, and she now needs a Padawan to finally have a friend. Maul doesn't have
Right.
friends. Maul has means to an ends.
Yeah.
And, you know, I hope this is not the Ventress arc, but for Maul, you know, there's a quote that Sam Witwer had, and he goes, "Yeah, I was pitching them these new layers to the Maul character, and there's some sides of Maul you've never seen before that might make him more compassionate." And I'm like, compassionate? I don't know if that's, I just don't know. So I think Cad Bane's the way to go, in that you give him these new angles that we never knew about Cad Bane, but you commit to him being, this is a bad dude, and you do not want to have him as your master.
Right. Well, like Liz is saying here, could be a lot like Sopranos or Breaking Bad. Your main character isn't a good guy, but sometimes you can still root for him a little bit. You know, it's like I mean, for Breaking Bad, you're kind of with Walter for a bit until you're like, oh crap, he's losing his edge, and nothing noble about it, but you understand it. And I think back to, I believe, wasn't it when Maul was trying to? It was when Maul was trying to convert Ezra in Rebels. You know, he was talking about how the Sith killed his brother, and he's like, the Sith are my enemy. You know, even though maybe he doesn't claim the title Darth anymore, they don't put Darth on the box.
Right.
But, it's but he's not using his powers for good by any stretch. I think he's just trying to get people to follow him. I mean, same with like all the Mandalorians. He had all those Mandalorians, on Mandalore, and then the second they were losing the battle, he's like, "Die well, Mandalorians," and walks off. It's like, he just needs followers, because he just needs some muscle, but they're not on his side, and they are not equals, and he will cut ties. I think to like Kira and Solo, he's not calling Kira in for training out of the goodness of his heart. He's just like, you could be important for this next mission. Like, no, I don't think we're getting good guy Maul, but I think we're going to get someone that we're going to enjoy watching for this show.
I think as soon as you reveal him, that he is rescuing a Jedi girl, perhaps, and that he's fighting Inquisitors, which it doesn't get any much worse than the Empire, it makes me hesitant. I ultimately believe in the team behind it, and I do believe in the character, because he's one of the greatest, best written characters in all of Star Wars. Maul's my third favorite character. I mean, I love him. I know Cody's in the chat. I know he loves him, and I do think that there are so many layers to Darth Maul. Some Gabagoo is crazy. That's awesome. So yeah, I mean, I love Maul, man. I hope this is awesome. But I'm looking at who he's going up against. The lawman, the officer, makes total sense. But the Empire is as worse as it comes. So as soon as Maul is beating the Empire, does that make him look like the hero? By him saving a Jedi girl, does it make him look like the hero? And those are all things we've already have never seen for the Maul character. Even when Maul sticks his hand out to Ahsoka to join him to defeat the Emperor and Vader, that's the most heroic we ever got, and it was short-lived. It didn't happen. So in the trailer, we're already seeing all these moments, and I go, ooh, is this a Book of Boba Fett moment, where this really badass, mysterious character is trying to, like, button up his collar and be like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be a little bit of a better version of myself. And I don't know if that's what we're looking for. But I'm sorry, we got so off base with the toys.
We're having fun, and as they become relevant, I'm pulling other Funkos up. But
I'll get off my doubt.
No, I'm having fun. This is a good topic.
It is.
Blitz is saying Maul might quickly realize he can't handle all these Inquisitors on his own and pull this young, impressionable Jedi in for his own benefit. And I think Tommy's dead on here. And that's, and Collective says, a show about a Sith Lord as a main character shouldn't show him being compassionate. He can be. There's a way that this could go, where Maul is the good guy, but he's not the good guy, where imagine if by the end of this show, Maul and his criminal underworld have chased the Empire off of this planet, and the people, are like, oh, that's to be celebrated. The Empire's gone, but it's like a brief thing, it's like, yeah, of course they learn, that maybe living on a criminal planet isn't the best, but he's not revealing that. I'm like, I could see ways where it's like, this can be a very compelling story without making Maul a good guy. And I don't think making Maul the good guy is the story. He's going to be, he's going to be the mob boss by the end of it. He's going to be sitting at a table, ordering hits. Like he's not going to be a good guy, but we all still like watching The Godfather.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I think everybody's making really great points. I think Cody's coming in with a classic right here. Yeah. He is tragic. He never achieves much. There's always that Sisyphus comparison that Freddie Prinze Jr. made. He is the guy who does have he's the man with a plan. The plan always blows up in his face.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a version where this Jedi Padawan or Knight or whatever, whoever she is, she obviously doesn't stick with him because of Star Wars Rebels. She's not by his side. So if anybody has seen the Penguin show on HBO, I think that's what this is going to be, just like you guys are saying with Sopranos and such. The Penguin meets that guy named Vic, and he's with Vic for the show, and it looks like there's like a really nice relationship there. But then we also know that Penguin's not a good dude, and neither is Darth Maul, or former Darth. But then what Jacob's saying, Star Wars Collective, but he's a former Sith Lord. He's aligned with some of the biggest and baddest out there. So I do think what this show could do to make Maul kind of heroic in a way, but still making him look evil, is meeting the new Sith, which is Vader. When he sees Vader, there is going to be a comparison there. There is going to be the scales would have shifted, and Vader is so much more scarier than maybe Maul ever was. And that might be enough for us to root for Maul because Vader's just that terrifying.
Right. No, and that's something that I kind of could foresee going down too. People have been asking for years for some kind of a Maul Vader conflict. And with Rebels confirming that Maul is alive well into the Empire, especially then, when Vader comes in season 2 and Maul survives season 2 of Rebels, everyone's like, oh, that's going to happen. And it doesn't happen. And Vader wins that fight 100%. But maybe that's where this goes too. Maybe Maul takes over this criminal underworld and, he chases off these Inquisitors. Maybe he's why Marok originally is killed because he's what reanimated in the Ahsoka series. He's possessed by that green fart, as a Blitz would say. And maybe Maul takes over this world a little bit, chases out the Inquisitors, and so they send in Vader. Maybe that's why that Jedi girl's not around in anything after this. But
yeah,
it's just it's a story yet to be told, but it's coming up soon, and I'm just excited for it. Like it's going to be really fun.
I like that. The spotlight is on Darth Maul. It's this character who's always been a standout in everything he walks up in. He's finally getting just that great spotlight. It's meta in the way that he feels cast aside, and now we're getting a story all about him where he can't be cast aside. He is the focal point. So, and I like who he's rolling with. So to really look at these pops here, Icarus looks super dope.
Yes.
I like that Dathomir possibly will have something to do here. Obviously, he revisits it in Rebels.
Yes.
And that's really, we don't see many red tattoo Zabraks that aren't from Dathomir. Even the ones in the Dathomir village are yellow like Savage, and then the chieftain leader, he's like an orangish color.
Right. So, we didn't see really any red ones in that Clone Wars arc.
So I'm willing to go on a limb and say this is our first red Zabrak ever that is not Maul.
Yeah.
And, I'm open to be corrected in the chat. So I do think that that's interesting. And Dennis just hit something in the chat that I want to hit too. the name Icarus, another one of these characters who comes very close to succeeding, but then there's that one fatal error, and then by the wayside, flew into the sun. But how dopey that you got close to the sun. So I think Icarus is this character. If this is this classic mob boss story, Icarus is that. He's that penguin. He's the guy who is the little guy, but he's the guy maybe with the plan who's going to try to topple Maul's empire from under him while being a really close friend, perhaps a close ally.
And Maul knows right from the get-go, this guy's going to make a claim for power somewhere.
Exactly. Right. This is the pre-Vizsla, if you will, of the story. The guy who thinks he's in control, but Maul is the guy with the plan. So love Icarus. I love everything that we got going on there. And Jodo cast, dude.
That's a Legends Bounty Hunter. This is Rook cast.
Oh, what am I?
Idiot.
Oh, dude. It's time for me to go. I've been spent.
No, you're fired. You're fired.
There we go. What am I saying? Rook cast. She looks great. I love that mauve colored armor.
Yes, one thing that's very exciting to me about this is this Funko gives me another opportunity to go meet Vanessa Marshall at a Comic-Con. She's getting to return to play Rookcast again. Interesting to me is we're getting Rookcast, which implies that she's going to have some sort of role of importance potentially in the show. She's not going to be a one-episode cameo or something. We're getting Icarus, this guy that we see very briefly in the trailer. We're getting 2 Mauls. We're getting the cloaked Maul, which, we need that aura farming Maul. And we get the Crow Inquisitor, but we don't actually get that pink Twi'lek Jedi.
Or Marok.
Yeah, or Marok, which maybe they're just saying, hey, you got that Ahsoka Funko Pop, or maybe it's coming in a second batch, which then could be where the pink Jedi girl comes with. But maybe we're overlooking that pink Jedi girl. Maybe she's not in the show much, because again, the trailer's not going to show us. I mean, maybe she's a total misdirect.
I'd love to think so, but between Omega, Grogu, why am I blanking? But of course, there's more where it's like every modern Star Wars story, they need to protect somebody young.
Yeah.
I think it's a lock, and the mystery with the character, I think that they're definitely. She's a means to an end. She'll be a big part of it for sure.
Yeah, she's probably not surviving the show, but she'll probably have some good bits in the show.
Yes, I think so. I'm excited about that lizard-looking Jedi guy.
My vibe was that was the master and she was the apprentice because she's young. She's got to be younger than Ahsoka. I got younger teenager vibes from her, honestly.
Same, and that's exactly why I hope they don't make her Darth Talon, because as soon as you Google Darth Talon, bad things come up. Don't Google Darth Talon. So
Google Darth Talon.
Angel on the shoulder, devil on the shoulder. Yep. So I mean,
Darth Talon doesn't need to be 13. Yeah, I agree.
I think that her name. I mean, obviously Darth Talon has a real name too, but I think they named her Devin.
Yeah.
StarWars.com. So yeah, man. I hope Devin is dope, and I think she will be. I think it doesn't require much. It could be freaking Sly Sloodles. So long as that person's at Darth Maul's side, they're gonna look badass no matter what.
She would have to be the audience's character, your look-in character, where he's gonna send her on a mission that's morally not good, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, why is he doing that? She's got to be the character that we relate to as people that are not sinister Sith Lords.
Definitely.
Yeah, Devin Nizara or something. That sounds right. Don't Google size noodles. Google size noodles.
Don't do it. Don't you dare Google Unkar Plut.
Oh man, that's a good one. Google Unkar Plut. So,
love it.
Yeah, but man, I mean, I don't know. I don't do the whole blanket buying whole waves of Funkos or anything, but I'm definitely grabbing one of these Mauls just to get signed by Sam Witwer because I want to meet him at a con again after this show is over, just to be like, yo, I liked your show. And Rookcast, I would gladly get another Vanessa Marshall autograph. I think everyone else, I'm going to hold off on unless they end up being kind of cool or I get a chance to get a voice actor autograph. That's always been my thing, is like Funkos are really nice for autographs because you go to Walmart, you grab it off the shelf, and then right next to it is an acrylic protector box. You know, they're easy. Opportunity costs there. But man,
possibly just as a fun fact here, I'm willing to bet, I really am, I feel like Darth Maul has the most Funko Pops of any Star Wars character.
Ooh, that's a take.
Maybe Mando or Grogu beats him, but I know I have at least like 8 to 9 Maul Pops upstairs. They're all different. They're all different.
I would argue maybe more Vaders, because especially when you start factoring in all the art ones, and depending on how you, all those random print Vaders.
Yeah, I mean there was 2 for Rogue One, 2 for Kenobi, 2 for yeah, I can see Vader. I can see Vader for sure. Are we doing a little Googling?
I'm doing a little Google.
Let's do it.
All right, you're spitting. Grogu has the most Star Wars Funko Pop variants, with over 24 different versions available, making him the most produced character in the line, as noted by Toy NK Toys.
Holy cow.
The Mandalorian features 15 different versions. And then Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker consistently produced with high numbers of variants. Why doesn't it give me a number?
Good call, though. I mean, you did mention Vader, so good call on you, my friend.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. That's a good fact. So that covers the Funkos. Let me see if we have Star Wars Toy Collector covered these. So these got dropped the other day after the fiasco that was the Black Series Lord Starkiller release. Hasbro's like, here's more toys that you won't be able to order. No, these will probably be reachable. But Hasbro Pulse just randomly dropped 2 TVC Maul Shadow Lord figures. And we are getting Marok with an awesome card back there. And where I was talking about with like the animation style being slightly different is like the lightsaber blurs, instead of it being that kind of smooth blur, it's very jagged. Like, I'm just liking the lighting effects on this show. They're really, visually interesting. But, and I will ask, oh yeah, we got Tommy here. Okay. We're talking peak. So, Blitz, as a guy that has drank the 375 Kool-Aid more than I have, this Marok is just reused from the Ahsoka Series 1 without all the orange paint, right? Clean Marok is goated. Okay, Starscream has got to get. Glad you were able to come hang out for a bit. It was a good time, man. So
later, Starscream. Thank you, man.
Yeah, but this to me, I believe, is just reused from the Ahsoka Series 1, and it's very clean looking. It's a good sculpt. I like how on the bubbles on these for the sabers, they've just added a little extra notch for the double-bladed ones.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
TVC never got Marok. Okay, I thought they did, but I guess not. So yeah, this is huge for TVC. They never even got him. Heck yeah, dude. So it's cool. I thought they had gotten. I thought he'd gotten made, but then like that wave was shortchanged. But I could be wrong.
No, dude. Shout out to the SWTVC guys. I went ahead and I participated in March Madness for this year, and it was so much fun. By the way, and the amount of Maroks that we're seeing in people's top 10, he was a heavy hitter. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up cracking, the top 25 when they go to rank them. So
this could be my mix-up is retro getting him, probably where we get mixed up.
The retro what makes it so tough to kind of keep track of the 2 lines. So I think this is a total win. I mean, to me, seeing this figure here is like seeing Watto get announced, and he was on everybody's Black Series most.
Yes, yeah.
So this right here is a massive win for TVC fans for sure.
Yeah, he looks really good. I mean, I got nothing bad to say here. And then, so something interesting. I mentioned this to you before. So they named him Marok. They didn't give him an Inquisitor number. But then on the second figure, instead of calling him the Crow like Funko did, they've given him the 11th brother moniker, which then makes me wonder what Marok's number is.
I, bel
12th brother or
I believe Marok is 13th, but what doesn't make any sense to me is like when Disney gives everybody like the companies the characters names, I just don't understand why it isn't plain. Like, okay, take probably the greatest example of this is the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren got Funko Pops, and they named the Knights of Ren just Knight of Ren, and then they gave parentheses what the Knight of Ren's weapon was, and that was the
yeah,
character's name. But at the same time, when those Funko Pops had come out, there was already reports like in a Star Wars Entertainment or oh man, what's it called? It might be Entertainment Weekly or something. There was some magazine and it name dropped like all six Knights of Ren and their names. And this had come out months and months before the Funko Pops did. So it's always this weird thing of like the toys say one name, but then they're actually called another name. But here's a
right.
great example of like Funko and TVC, they dropped it around the same time in terms of like the news cycle, but they have two conflicting names. And it's like, why does that happen?
Yeah.
I
So
don't get it.
Blitz heard that Marok is the first brother, which maybe, I mean, we haven't heard. I always assumed that first brother was also Grand Inquisitor. I mean, and that was more an assumption I made than anything else. But
Mhm.
just the fact that we've never had the first brother title given, and the Grand Inquisitor is out there, I would assume, the first Inquisitor that you train to completion, you would then make the boss until, over
Right.
following ones. Um,
Blitz could be onto something there.
yeah, because then I think like third sister Riva in the Kenobi series gets promoted to Grand Inquisitor, and it never like freed the role up. We never. That's the other thing is like these Inquisitors get killed off, and you don't get like a second seventh sister or something. They
you,
just they're
you,
just
you,
gone.
oddly enough, you do. There's an Inquisitor comic line, and there's two different fourth sisters.
Ah, okay, so they do replace some of the titles.
They do. So I remember Marok the longest time was rumored to be the 10th brother because the 10th brother gets killed in a book called Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade, where there is
Okay.
a 13th sister. Her name's Ishkat. She has like a red skin. She's really kind of dope. She's the main character of the book. She's the 13th sister in that. And then there's a 10th brother, and things happen to them. And I do believe they get replaced. So, I mean, it's possible he's the first brother. Um, I think, you know, they don't make it easy to keep track of them, but
Yeah,
at the same time, no other first brother comes to mind unless they are the Grand Inquisitor. So who knows, man? Maybe it is the first brother.
yeah. Who knows their numbers, and then why these ones get to have names like Marok and the Crow, whereas everyone else just has to run by a number. Except then Riva is also just called Riva throughout the show, and not just third sister.
You get Trilla for second sister, but we also know her to be her Jedi name.
Yeah, that was
Reva.
my assumption. Was it's kind of like knowing that Anakin's Vader. Like that's just info that's not supposed to be out there.
Yeah, so if Reva
Yeah,
is the Jedi name, if Trilla is the Jedi name, you can't tell me the Crow is the Jedi name.
yeah. That's a little rough for a Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone needs to do a video of all who the brothers and sisters are. I agree. Yeah. Yeah,
Spit.
Fourth Sister has a name in Tales of the Empire too. Yeah. Barris says it, but I'm totally.
Uh, it's like a mirror.
It's Lynn. It's Lynn, right?
Lynn. Lynn.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know that we get the last name, but at least we get Lynn. But and again, like it's kind of like the Darth thing, where it's like you have a name, you get brought into the order, you're titled, this, but it's like Darth Vader isn't running around getting called Anakin, on Sundays or whatever. Like it's just it becomes the name at that point. It's a new name.
So in this case, the Crow is the first like nickname ever given to an Inquisitor,
Yeah.
and
So
they call Maul the Shadow from Rebels.
right.
So they got a good nickname code, like networking going on between one another.
Yeah.
But yeah, he looks fire. Like I've been waiting for this figure for years
Oh,
since
he's so
Silver
cool.
Jedi. He looks so cool, so cool.
Yep. I like the kind of claw hands, the Lord Starkiller-esque, claw hands.
Yes.
But no, very, very, very cool stuff going on here. This is were these, I think these were just single packs. They weren't like a 2-pack. Sometimes they'll take 2 TVCs and they'll put them together in a box. But no, I think these are, each figure comes packed on Kenner card backs, Pre-orders February 13th, so we aren't going to see those go up for a couple more days Friday. But yeah, that's going to be cool seeing those come out. These are really cool. Makes me hopeful that we might see both of these guys in the Black Series as well. We have yet to see any Black Series anything for Shadow Lord yet, which I mention it in my not yet released Jedi Master Dooku review that's coming out on Thursday. Black Series has this new subline box where it's just the animation box, and it's that blue coloring. That's where they put the colorized Ronin. It's the box that Jedi Master Dooku goes in. So anything from the Tales of shows is going to be put in this just blue line packaging going forward. And I just wonder how that's going to fall out for different shows, because Maul Shadow Lord, I haven't heard anything else. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a 1 season like mini thing, where you're going to get like 12 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever the count is. And then that's going to be it, or if there's possibilities for a second season. But then whether or not they're going to give a mini series at that point its own subline, or if they're just going to be in the blue packaging. So I guess I'm just kind of curious from a box standpoint where it's going to fall.
It's a better question than I think people realize, but I feel like given how moody they're going with this packaging,
it's got to be red.
It has to be red. If it's an electric blue, I think that just goes against their own marketing with how rich it's been with that Maul patterning. Yes, we've seen so many red, but we've also seen so many blue in the line. So it'll be some sort of color of red, and I think that'll be great to see.
Yep. So something that we were going to potentially do on this stream and just never got to because we never got a Mando and Grogu trailer is I'd thrown the idea out about the possibility of a maybe we like pitch what we'd like to see for a Force Friday. And my thinking was, Mando and Grogu merch. I'll take us over to Yak Face here because he's certainly got some kind of a post about it. There is just a lot of vintage collection and Black Series stuff coming in the ports here in the US now that has not been released yet. So here we got Tommy, who cares what the color stripe on the box is. And I'm just curious, it's like, again, I'm going to open it and throw it away. But, I guess I'm just curious. I've kind of wondered on the, because we've got like 5 different reds and like 6 different blues. Is like, when are we going to start getting some gradients? You see on
yes,
you see on the Funko boxes, it's like a lot of orange and red, like speckled. Like, when are we? Yeah, I mean that would give us another variety of coloration. But yeah, I'm just curious. Really,
you hit a soapbox that I will not go on, but people. And Blitz, I mean, better than anybody, because of how invested you are with all of this. But to me, the power of the packaging can change the landscape on your desire if you do or if you don't want. For me, at least, it's something I take crazy seriously. I would never look at a Shadows of the Empire figure in my life, personally. But I see that like lavender color striping on the Shizor box, and it has me acting up. If you believe at all in color theory or color science, it to me at least, it plays a massive role. And there's some interesting science to back it up. I think seeing a Maul figure in light blue packaging, last time that happened was the Gaming Greats Old Master Maul from Rebels. And that electric blue just doesn't heighten that figure one bit for me. But I know if it was a red against that black box, it just would have done something to me in the same way that those Maul Funko Pops, everybody's kind of like, ooh, those look cool. And I know it's because it's the pop itself, but man, that box has to be at least playing a 5 to 10% role in the sexiness of that unveiling.
No, it's a good look. I mean, I'm with you. It there needs to be a little bit of shelf presence in the store.
Yeah.
And that was always something that I thought of with the plastic-free packaging that kind of hurt all those figures is, but beyond the vibe of just not being able to see the figure you're getting, everyone was like, oh, it's all about not being able to see if the paint apps are good or not. Hasbro's paint apps are good 99% of the time. it's a safe gamble, and you can always return it if it's not. But it's like the packaging just wasn't exciting enough, of just a picture, just a blank picture of the figure. It's definitely, there needs to be a bit of a an attention grabbing thing to it that the plastic free didn't have,
True.
but hence why I still see so many of them hanging out, but
Yeah, man.
yes, Dennis. So I don't hate it. I don't, but it was an interesting time,
What they
as an
should,
opener. It didn't bother me really. Anything I wanted, I didn't like skip on because it was in plastic free. I was just like, okay, like whatever.
to me, it was idiot free packaging because I'd never studied what I was buying too much. I never really looked at the tape too much.
Yeah.
And I got duped on so many Marvel Legends figures at least 3 times, count them, where I opened it up and it was not who I had bought in there. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
No.
it's a good way to filter out the idiots for sure, because I was one of them.
Yep. No. Yep. During those times, you needed to take a look. So.
Yeah, dude.
But something that I think we're probably going to get, we have so many recent shipping info shows a deluge of nearly 20 new vintage collection and Black Series products are currently arriving in the U.S. awaiting distribution. And things that have not been announced yet. And with that in mind, I think we're getting a Force Friday event for Mando and Grogu. I don't know if it's going to be at a retailer or if it's going to be a online like cyber version of it where they're just going to be like, "Yep, they're just going up, they're in stock, order them this Friday," or if it's going to be, if they're going to partner with a retailer. The last Force Friday I went to the I don't think there was a Force Friday for Solo, but I went to the Force Friday for Last Jedi. That was at Toys R Us. Over the following year, Toys R Us went out of business. And then for the Rise of Skywalker Triple Force Friday, I went to my local GameStop. Well, now, like all of the GameStops in Northeast Ohio are closed. And I guess Blitz, does Erie still have two? I thought one of them was on the list. But, just GameStop has been crashing, but I ponder, and of course it'll be Mando and Grogu merch if it's Force Friday for sure, but I wonder if we're going to be getting it sooner than later with everything in the ports, and then if it's going to be one of these like double events like they did the Triple Force Friday for the Mandalorian, for Jedi Fallen Order, and for Rise of Skywalker. If we're going to get, like a wave of 6 Black Series, but 2 of them are from Shadow Lord and then the others are from, Mando. Erie is down to 2 now. So what, the Maul and then the one across the street by the Home Depot, right? But yeah. So I'm just wondering what we're gonna get. But I think something's coming. Yeah, we're gonna have some kind of an event coming. And for like Shadow Lord, I'd be cool if that first wave we just got 2 figures, a repack Clone Wars Maul with a cloak, and that Jedi chick, Devin. I think that would be enough. I mean, I need to have my toys, for when I'm sitting in the bathtub watching my episodes on the iPad. Like I need my toys. I need them now. But the one by Home Depot shut down. Where's the second one at? I think I only knew about that one and the one in the mall. But man,
I would be fine with anything. I mean,
yeah,
if it leaned, I think it should definitely lean more Mando and Grogu than it should lean Maul. I think
sure.
at bare minimum, it should be 60-40. If not, I would be, you know what, dude, I would be comfortable with it 90-10. 90% Mando and Grogu, 10%, Maul, especially because we're getting these awesome Maul stuff ahead of time, like these pops, like these vintage collection. I feel like that was the bone that was thrown, and then it's going to be way more Mando and Grogu focused, as it should be.
For sure.
And even those Lego sets, that's May 1st. So not like those are going to be up, next week. I do think, if I had to throw in something else, how cool would it be recognized if Bad Batch gets its 5-year anniversary recognition? That 70-minute premiere episode was insane.
Yeah.
One of the best May 4ths ever, just by that episode alone. So it would be really nice if there was some sort of acknowledgement. I don't know if I would need it in terms of like merch, maybe. Disney used to do those Blu-rays or the Steel books or whatever for Disney Plus shows like WandaVision and Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier, Mando season 1 and 2, Ahsoka season 1, season 1 of Andor. I would love, for that anniversary, if they would go Bad Batch, but I don't think they will. And I don't think there'll be many merch for Bad Batch either. But that's probably the one thing that won't get touched on it during May 4th, and that's okay. So long as it's Mando and Grogu heavy, it's a total win in my book.
Yeah.
That's all I want to see.
Yeah, no, and it will definitely be like very focused. It'll be a lot of Mando and Grogu. I just think with this show coming soon, also, it's like get something in that otherwise Mando themed pile. Because without seeing what's coming, we don't have any more trailers, so it's like I'm just trying to think of like standard Black Series wave of 6 figures. If 2 of them were Shadow Lord, I think I would still struggle to fill the other 4 spots. So we have that leaked deluxe Mando and Grogu with like all of the weapons accessories, like the build-up pack. So Mando wouldn't even be in the standard packaging. So you got to come up with 4 figures. Sigourney Weaver for sure. Maybe some kind of new trooper, maybe that ATRT driver from the Lego set.
Yeah.
You got 2 mainline figures. Do you put Zeb in mainline? He had to be deluxe before, so does Zeb come out as another deluxe, or do they make him fit? I don't think Carson Teva is slated to be in the movie at all, so you probably can't slip him in there.
You're just trolling, I know.
I thought I heard he wasn't in it, and I thought Angry Appa said no. Because it'd be in the Mando and Grogu line. They'd have to put him in like the Mando line, which they could mix that, into the wave. They could, if we weren't just going to be strictly movie figures.
Now I'm really thinking about it. Like, wait a second, has that been in my head all along? That
Carson I thought he said he wasn't in it.
I mean, if you go to the Adelphi base, I don't know how you don't wiggle his, cute face up in there. So
right. I guess it depends on what he's doing in Ahsoka season 2. He might still be in court, for
maybe Carson Teva is the Ahsoka Tano of like she's never in the films, but she's in all the shows.
Yep. Can't make the movie cut. God forbid we give this man a living wage.
But I'll tell you what, I know this is a toy channel. Like, above all else, this is talking toys.
No, we're yapping about anything.
The best thing for them to do, I feel, for Force Friday, in this case on May 4th or whatever it is, for Mando and Grogu, they got to drop season 3 on disc. They dropped season 1 on disc.
Yes.
They need to drop season 3 on disc.
Yes, they do.
Could you imagine a box set as well of all 3?
Oh yeah,
that would be bananas.
Especially if like the show is concluded and Mando's going to be a movie guy going forward. Like give us a box set of the entire TV segment. Like, yes, for sure. Road of the Hutt and the Mando and Grogu line. Yeah, and of course as a deluxe, but yes, I think Rhoda has to come. I 100% agree. I do want Road of the Hutt and the Mando and Grogu lineup.
Absolutely.
So, and again, these are just saying products. They're not saying what products. It's just barcodes is all it is. It's not saying price or size or anything. So maybe we get a wave of Black Series and then a deluxe, and then a big deluxe like a Rhoda. I'd be here for all this in this hypothetical Force Friday that we're getting breadcrumbs exists, but we haven't had confirmed.
Same here, dude. Yeah, I think Hutts in general, for some reason they are very toyetic, but we don't get a lot of toys of them. So I would love to see Rhoda mold for sure. And we don't really have an idea just how big he is. The shot of him hitting one of these, it's from behind and it's from a distance, so we don't know if he's going to be full blown or what like how big he's actually going to scale next to Mando. So we'll see. With
him being like a CG thing as well, that could be his size could change depending on the scene, and they scale him up or down to fit a doorway or whatever. But movie magic tricks. He might, I think there's just going to be a range where it roughly looks right,
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, like sometimes, like the Black Series Jabba that we have, kind of looks a little small, but then depending on what you're trying to go for, sometimes he doesn't. Because sometimes we get a character standing next to him, and they kind of stand over him a bit, whereas usually he's kind of over you, but he's also usually on that pedestal, so which didn't come with the figure. So when you factor that in, you're like, actually, he probably does work. It just kind of depends on your scene and what you're trying to hit the pose for. But yeah, no, that original Jabba had the the gimmick where you pull his arm down and it makes his mouth open and close. So I demand with the Road to the Hut, we need some kind of hidden button that makes him flex. So we need a play feature on Road to the Hut in the Black Series.
That would be fun.
So it'd be goated. It'd be so good. So, I guess with that hypothetical out of the way, just looking at other Yak Face stuff, I made a full-blown video on it. Go check it out. I don't want to make it a full topic here, but the release for Starkiller, Lord Starkiller, was a fiasco. I guess everyone in the chat that's interested in yapping, Cody's 100% in, 100%, or he absolutely wants to buy Rhoda. I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
But did anyone get Lord Starkiller? I locked one in with Nerdzoic. To super summarize while y'all are firing off, this figure was originally advertised to be Hasbro Pulse, Fan Channel, and Amazon. And of those, I wanted to shop with Amazon. So at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, I was waiting with the link that Yak Face had for Amazon, and it never went live. And that's not abnormal, because sometimes Amazon, if you tell them to put it up at 1, it's going up at 105, 110. Well, 110 comes and goes. And everyone else is saying that it's sold out, in other places, and Amazon hasn't even gone up. And my big frustration is hours later, Yak Face gets confirmation from someone at Hasbro that actually it's not available at Amazon.
Hybrid. I'm sorry, man. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. So, while we're waiting on Vincent, I'll finish my story. But ultimately, what happened was he's ultimately not going to be available on Amazon, which is just immensely frustrating, because if it was a mistake on the live stream, Hasbro had 30 days, 24 days to make an Instagram post or a tweet or whatever. I mean, just some kind of statement like, hey, we messed up. Don't go to Amazon that day. So good night, Mom. Yeah, you lose interest as soon as Vincent's gone, right? But, it's just frustrating that something got said and then it never got corrected. And then for me, I was able to grab one on Nerdzoic. But it's just I waited for my preferred retailer, and it should have been communicated better. But Lissa's saying he totally missed the whole thing, but he grabbed it on Big Bad Toy Store right when it went up. And, when it went up, you locked it in, and then because it was a work day or whatever, you come back later on and you're like, oh man. It's like the Donald Glover meme, where he comes back into the apartment and it's on fire and everything's broken. But, yeah, no, I think you're spitting, just get it somewhere, even if it's not your preferred retailer, save yourselves, and canceling pre-orders is free. I agree with that. My thing is I don't shop with Big Bad a lot. I have nothing against Big Bad. And Pulse, if it's not a Pulse exclusive, I usually just don't think to go there. I was just I like Amazon. Nice thing with Amazon is if I want to cancel a pre-order, I just go and click cancel pre-order. I guess I don't know for sure what the story is, but don't you have to email Big Bad? You can't just go and click it. If you can, then maybe I should be looking at Big Bad more. But it's just frustrating, saying it'll be somewhere and then it won't. And my whole stance ultimately is I kind of just want Hasbro to make a definition that's the definition going forward. Because it's always, this figure is going to be Fan Channel and Amazon, Fan Channel and not Amazon, sometimes not Amazon. What is Amazon? Is it Fan Channel? Is it not Fan Channel? And decide it, because it's just frustrating that every time something comes out, you have a whole new different list. But you don't have to ask them. You can just go and click cancel. Okay. Again, I don't shop there enough to know that for sure. So
that is true.
Okay, that is better. So I know for Nerdzoic, that's definitely the case. But I also kind of with Nerdzoic, I paid for it now. It's just coming. That's the other thing is, man, I just hate, randomly, something shows up early, and your card charges and, and then it's gone. And it's it's just without a set schedule too. It's just I don't know. It bugs me. I don't like subscriptions in general.
Big Bad, odd, the likelihood of Big Bad getting it before anybody else, it's slim to none. But if you trade that for convenience, which to me is important, and having, I guess, the solace knowing that it will come eventually, and it was super easy to do the checkout, super easy to do the cancel. Big Bad's had my back. There's been nothing that they've never delivered on something that I've pre-ordered. I mean, it always came eventually. The only thing that just never came through, my pre-order never fulfilled, was the Ahsoka series Marok and the original Bad Batch Crosshair, like O2 in the lines, Bad Batch gear. But those are tales from a while ago. But
right, and those were cases where they would have done it if they could have, but Hasbro canceled.
Yep. So. And those were just strange times in terms of distribution. So yeah, Big Bad is like, if you're about convenience and worry free, Big Bad's the way to go, especially if you have to cancel anything.
For sure.
My favorite thing about it, they'll even email you like a day or two before they officially charge you. It's like a last call. Hey, it just arrived. If you want to bow out now, like you have a day to do so, essentially. And I try not to abuse that system because I want to, give my support. But it is, again, just really convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got nothing against Big Bad. I guess I've just not gravitated towards them,
Yeah.
But maybe I should. But
maybe.
Collective is saying Starkiller feels like an actual deluxe figure, 2 sets of swappable hands, all the sabers, and the wired soft goods, despite it not being your thing, is fantastic. I'm kind of with you on the soft goods. 1/12 feels like too small a scale for such a thing. I'm glad for those that want it and are getting it, but I just I don't know. I've got some figure arts with like soft goods capes with the wires in them, and they always look a little rough, But people are asking for it and Hasbro's listening, so that's what we're getting. But but no, I mean, I agree. I mean, this is like I always say, you got to fill the box if you want to call it a premium thing, and they filled the box with Starkiller.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that kind of covers just my general list of topics. What do you think, Vincent? Do we want to do some recent pickups and start winding down?
We could do recent pickups. In terms of recent pre-orders, which is not a topic, but I am seeing that Cad Bane in the middle of your screen.
Yeah.
And
coming out in 2 weeks.
We don't got to talk about it for long, but if you guys know me, I'm a massive Cad Bane fan. So when I saw this little doodad right here, I was floored. I couldn't believe that this even exists. And I was very grateful that I had somebody reach out to me, say, hey, it's live. And I was able to go and secure one for myself. I'm incredibly geeked. I don't own every Cad Bane collectible out there, but I'm pretty close. So knowing that there's a new one getting added to the pile, and for once, it's not from any specific show. It's just this one-of-one piece. It's very special. So this will definitely be a prized possession in the collection. Looking forward to getting hands-on with that. But
I recently found the Samurai Darth Maul at a Meyer, of all places. So that there's the wave of Boba Fett, Maul, and the Stormtroopers, like the main line, and then this is the store exclusive one.
Yes, sir.
So, seems like they're hitting.
And by the way, good on Funko for just choosing incredibly toyetic characters to do this style. And they didn't do, and God bless Luke Skywalker, but I don't know how well he would translate. But they went with Boba Fett, Darth Maul, a Stormtrooper to coincide with the Vader from Celebration, and Cad Bane. It's such a random wave, but they just went for those characters that made boys, and I kind of respect it.
Mm-hmm. No, I've never known a Cad Bane anything to peg warm, so
thankfully.
Right. Well, plus we just don't get a ton, so it's just cool.
Yeah. I lucked out with that reveal, dude. I mean, that was totally made for somebody like me. I could not believe it. And but I did pick up an actual Funko Pop recently. And that's this guy right here.
Nice.
This was a Toy Hio pickup. And Hybrid, I know that you did your video covering Toy Hio.
Oh, yeah.
Blitz Transmissions did a video covering Toy Hio. This guy was $15, and it was 50% off. So he was $7.50 for a Celebration 2016 exclusive. And I'm a big Cad Bane fan, and the reason that is because I was a very big Empire Strikes Back bounty hunter kid. You gave me Zuckuss, Dengar, Forlom, anything as a kid, and I ate it up. Boba Fett, Bosk, IG88, I never really liked. There was something about him, I don't know. But Forlom and Zuckuss, these two guys, it's like you always need both of them. And for the longest time, I've had the Zuckuss Funko Pop. And I actually owned this a while ago, like way back in high school. And then I sold it. And I think I made out like, I think I sold it for like $80 back in the day. I made out like a bandit. But as you grow older, you know, sometimes you can't really put a price to things. And I think I would have kept it in hindsight. So, oh yeah, Dennis picked up an awesome Black Series Clone Trooper, just like the shiny Phase 2. That's such a great figure, man.
I don't know why every time I click a comment it's switching us, but whatever.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, weird StreamYard stuff.
That's all right. It's always so cool when you do sell something and then you're able to go back and buy it later and be like, man, I wish I never sold this. And as silly as it is, this is like one of two things that I get to remedy with time.
Yeah. I know, you know, you hear sometimes people decide to get out of collecting, let it go, you know, they liquidate the collection, you know. A lot of times they regret it and they want some of that stuff back eventually. And so it's always kind of been my thing is, you know, there's something. I've got a lot of figures that I don't display anymore. A lot of them are like red box figures and they're just kind of like in totes. Yeah. And they're open. And it's like, man, like I could drag you to ICCC and get $5 on the room sales or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I could just hang on to it because what's $5 and, you know, and the headache of doing that. And man, maybe if I think twice on it, you know, in a couple of years, it's just, I know where it's at.
Right.
Phantom Menace Dennis is calling out the haircut.
Oh, is he really?
Did bro freshen up since Toy Hio?
I did just today. Yeah.
I freshened up for Toy Hio and Phantom Menace Dennis didn't mention anything. So thanks, bro.
You looked good. I could tell that it was a fresh cut.
Oh yeah. Yep. I went to shout out to my barber. But I went like right before Toy Hio. So it was goated.
Yeah. It looked fresh. Mine was just, you could tell at Toy Hio, man, I was hiding under this beanie trying to make it work, but it was too much hair. So had to switch it up. I kind of looked like a Pike at Toy Hio, man. I had this beanie covering my whole head, but this is one of my other pickups. This is actually a Christmas gift from Santa. Nice. Santa gave me 2 Pike Troopers, which was so kind. Again, goes with my Cad Bane display perfectly. They can flank my Black Series Cad Bane. And I've never owned this figure. And I don't know, Hybrid. I kind of feel like this is underrated. I think these guys
It is. It's a very good figure. I only have the one. He's something where I've kind of been playing clearance chicken a little bit because like I'd like to get 2 more, and it's like he's never blown up in value, but he's also never gone on sale. And but yeah, I need to grab a couple more. He's really fun to pose. I like the accessories he comes with.
I'm kind of shocked they never did go on sale. Like I feel like it's background enough. So
yeah, and it's niche enough. It's like it's an army builder, but it's not a stormtrooper. Like, you know, you're not going to go buy a bunch of them.
And it's not like a Clone Wars Pike either. I mean, you know,
right.
The Boba Fett Pike. I don't know what people consider to be more iconic. Maybe I go Clone Wars because they're in the Outlaws game. They do show up in Bad Batch for an episode. But yeah, I think these guys are stunning. Do I love these so much. So
yeah,
2 Pike. Shout out to Santa on that one. And then shout out to my boy Hybrid Tour Reviews, because we're both all in on Cube Squadron. Shout out to Cassidy of Cube Squadron. Check out Cube Squadron over on Kickstarter. They're taking these toys right here and giving them the doghouse of a lifetime. It's putting these ships into the world of a galaxy far, far away, inspired by a galaxy far, far away. And I've never done the Micro Galaxy Squadron up until now, but Cube Squadron's making me want to be all in on this line. So Hybrid, you hooked me up with this awesome A-Wing, and I am so looking forward to cracking it open and displaying it with some Cube Squadron stuff.
Heck yeah. No, when we had Cassidy on, I was like, because I knew that you didn't have anything yet, and you'd always been like a casual enjoyer of the line. I was like, I just gotta do it. I just gotta give him one, get Vincent in. And Collective is saying the Pike Soldier is 15 on Big Bad right now, and he is right, 15.59. So, and then you get that $4, like budget shipper. So I'm gonna grab 3 of them for $50 right now.
Let's go. I think we just turned Hybrid into a Big Bad fan.
I
But like,
guess, yeah.
maybe
I
we can start
always have
pre-ordering.
like the premium shipping, or the budget shipping, the $4 flat rate is the term.
There you go.
Yeah, I just ordered 3 Pike Soldiers. So thank you,
Let's go.
Jacob, at Collective.
Yeah, shout out to you, Jacob. Awesome. The last pickup for me, just to try to round it up, I'm excited to see your pickups, my friend, is it's this guy right here. This was another Toy Hio find. It is from the TV show Transformers Prime. It is Predaking. And
It's back.
Predaking's a pretty famous, G1 Transformer as well. And I do love that look for Predaking. But Transformers Prime is probably my favorite Transformers show. And this guy's a behemoth. He, of course, transforms into a dragon. He's incomplete. I did buy him loose for $5. That is a steal of a lifetime for something this big and this sought after. So he's missing his knee pads, and then this arm. He doesn't have a hand.
Ooh.
But for $5, I just had that oh man, are you sure? Because there's a bunch of bins, and I'm like, this is in the wrong bin. This should be in a $30 bin at most. And no, it was, the guy's like, no man, $5. He's missing some stuff. He's like, he is cool, and I'm like, you're darn right, he's cool. And he's coming with me, so I can't put him down. He is just so much fun, such a menacing force in that show, and orange and black are probably my favorite color combinations.
It's a good combo, yeah. And he looks really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm pretty geeked about this. I think this was a steal. So how about you, my friend? Talk to me about. Well, I know you just did your video of Toy Hio pickups and stuff.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen the video, do you have any pickups on hand?
So I am actually going to interrupt my segment super quick because we have something cutting edge dropping during our stream. Thank you for pointing it out. But over on Instagram, Hot Toys has just revealed a quarter scale, a new Pokemon Solo. So not 12 inches. This is going to be more like 18.
Whoa, wait a second. Have they done this scale before?
I know they've done it for some Marvel stuff. I guess Blitz, fire off if you're still hanging out. But is this the first Star Wars one? I feel like it might be.
Dude,
I think they did a Boba Fett once. They might have, but
I'm gonna try to pull up do some research on
yeah. But this guy looks awesome. That likeness in the promo photos, at least, is like that's.
He looks great.
Yeah.
The Empire Strikes Back Han that's up for pre-order. He looks perfect. And there was a debate about that one in my head, and this one, same thing. They nailed. It looks great, man. It's so odd talking about Hot Toys because I feel like I never have anything to add because they are just so on point.
I mean, my general point is, hey, they look good, and I'm too broke, so.
Yeah, they look nice from afar, right?
Right. I appreciate a nice little discount Hot Toy every now and then, but no, this Han is just insane. I love the Millennium Falcon inspired base. That's super cool.
Be some spitting about the Stormtrooper belt accessory. Yeah.
Yes. I like that they are covering all of the bases here. It seems
most definitely.
Interchangeable hand and forearms, which is nice because then you don't end up with the cut there. I thought I until I saw this photo, I thought it was more like a silicone hand with like a skeleton in it. But yeah,
okay,
that makes sense. And then the interchangeable belt. That's, you got to have that. Interesting, I guess they didn't give him any of the hands with the gloves. I know Black Series did that back in the day, the pilot gloves.
Okay,
I'm not knocking it. More just like interesting that Hot Toys didn't cover that look. But
I mean, they covered every other base, so I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but
it looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, this is Yep. This is good.
Sometimes it's kind of like,
oh, and then interchangeable hands with pilot gloves. What?
So they do.
Yeah. So I guess somehow you can, on some of these interchangeable arms, the hands come off. What? They don't look like. I don't see any seams.
Wow.
That is interesting.
I never want to get to a point where we start taking these things for granted, because yes, they are so perfect in so many ways, but the craftsmanship too. I mean, this is
the
so
fact they can
impressive.
stitch a soft goods costume at this scale,
and
not have the stitching be like super like obvious and gaudy looking. Like
I love the base with the falcon as well. Did you see that?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Here he's rocking the gloves here. Yeah. He comes with them.
They're taking care of those Han Solo fans. They didn't miss a thing.
Yep.
Wow. So that's impressive. Yeah, thanks to Blitz for mentioning that this dropped.
Winter says he likes Hot Toys using them as guides for paint to improve Black Series. Yeah, no, it's a good template. And it can give you some. They definitely have a higher budget for such things, so it's kind of like giving you a reference photo.
I mean, this probably goes without saying, but they provide very nice reference photos for me and what it is that I do. So yeah, I'm always grateful for something like that.
Right. All right. So I'm going to show off my Toy Hio pickups and just some other general recent pickups.
Hey, show off that shirt real quick, though. Is it?
Oh, yeah.
That's what this was.
Grip. Yep.
What? That's so cool.
I didn't see him in the chat tonight, but that's all right. I'll always represent my number one customizer man, my sweet little cookie Wookie. But so the fun thing with Toy Hio, is when we get so many of us there, you kind of like gravitate towards one person, and then you two kind of walk away from the group, and then you regroup and you grab another guy, and it's rarely just all 10 of us, walking around in a crowd. It breaks up a little bit, and so most people when they break away from the group and come back, they got like a new little thing in the backpack or whatever. That's how it was with Vincent. I was like, oh man, you find anything? Yeah, I got a couple things in my bag. But me, I'm a little more obvious about it. So, I walk away and then I come back, just cradling a baby. They're like, oh, what you got there? And I'm like, oh, a hot toy. So
this whole thing.
Yeah. You can see it, like. So I grabbed a Hot Toys Coruscant Guard. I am super amped on this one. I have been dabbling with just doing a little shelf with some Phase 2 clones on it. And, I'm not all in on Hot Toys, but if I can find something interesting at a little bit of a deal, like I'm happy to do it. So this guy's really cool. I got him for $200 flat from B&E Collectibles. Awesome store. They're down in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. I've picked up a few Hot Toys from them at this point, and they're really cool guys. You go in, you want to grab a couple, they'll barter with you. They have some pre-owned stuff in there you can get really cheap. So I've had some good pickups from them. As far as Toy Hio goes, my only other pickups were I grabbed another Jedi Temple Guard. I only had the one, and I at least wanted a pair. And maybe not the thing that I want to say to the audience that might become my competition, but I think if I had to gamble on something becoming a little harder to get, I think this would be a Black Series to maybe pick up a spare of and just kind of sit on. I'm not trying to give you stock advice here or anything, but I just kind of get the vibe. All the other fan channels of the last year, they're still available. Some of them are on sale. This guy's kind of been starting to sell out one place at a time, so I needed to grab them. So
the one that you found at Toy Hio was the only one I saw in the whole building that day.
So there was this one, and then Buy Sell Trade Ashtabula had one, and I took Jeff the barber to them because he was like, I'm looking for one, and I'm like, I'm looking for one too, but I'll show you where the one I'm looking at is, because he didn't have any yet. So I'd at least rather have everyone have one than me army build. So I'm a kind and generous king of Ohio at my Toy Hio. But so this was a cool pickup. And then I picked up from Bafo Toys. They were at Toy Hio, but they have a retail location in Geneva, Ohio. This is a Jada Toys. They have been doing mascots lately. And so this is a 1/12 scale Chester Cheetah, like action figure. and it's just really, really cool. It's just one of those things where I'm like, oh, it's a little silly, but like I like it, and I actually like it's got the ingredients, the calories and stuff on the side of the box, but it's just talking about action figure facts on it. So it's 112 scale and 112 scale action figure, included accessories, alternate hand one, alternate head one, hand two, Cheeto one, bag one, authentic retro styling, collector quality paint, 100% of your daily value, collector quality sculpt, 100% of your daily value. It's just fun, Points of articulation 20. I think that's pretty good for this. But yeah, so yeah, this was a good pickup from Bafo Toys. I was glad to snag that. That little part of my brain that recently decided I like playing Fortnite this week is just kind of like, have a little shelf with everyone on it. I mean, Master Chief and Iron Man and Chester Cheetah, and make it look like a Fortnite lobby. But I think it'd be fun. But HCR's friend Mark, we might have another at the store. I might snag that from you. So I think ultimately I want 4. So I'll swing by this weekend.
And again, it was so cool getting to meet your friends from Buy Sell Trade Ashtabula. And
they're all good guys. They are.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So an Amazon pickup just recently, one of the harder to get, more expensive Micro Galaxy Squadrons was the Series 4 TIE Bomber.
Ooh.
Series 4 just never really hit anywhere. It was like Series 2 and 3 and 1 were kind of just sitting everywhere, and so retail didn't get a lot of this one. And they finally armada'd this ship in a recent wave. And, it was like, okay, that brought it down because it was getting expensive. It was like, I don't know. My mind wants to say it was like getting close to $100. I don't think it was up that high, but it was, it wasn't a $15 ship anymore. And they armada'd it. And then I saw a listing on Amazon. This was on sale for $12. And I was like, instead of 16 retail, yeah, I'll do that. So I grabbed 2. I've already opened one. And then I got the Series 4 version, like not the Armada one, which I don't think there was a difference. But sometimes in the Armadas, they'll touch up the paint a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I grabbed 2 of them. Just I'll put them in my Cube Squadrons Imperial hangar someday when I get to print that. But
heck yeah,
very excited about that. But very, very cool ship. I do like the TIE Bomber.
Definitely, dude. That's so cool.
This was something I got on one of my toy hunt vlogs, the Hybrids weekend hunt vlogs. But I picked up at Action Toy Man in Erie. They had a bunch of older figure arts come in. This is Iron Man's suit from the final battle of Avengers Age of Ultron. We've never had a Marvel Legends of it, and my goal is to start working on a 3D printed like Hall of Armor with all the movie suits in it. And since Hasbro doesn't want my $20, I spent $40 on this, and this will be representing that movie in the Hall of Armor. So it's a really good figure. I'm not going to review it because it's not Star Wars and no one's going to show up for it, but I liked it enough to buy it.
From what you were telling me about it over the phone, it just sounds so freaking cool.
It is. It's so fun to pose.
We were talking about that armor just being underrated in general.
Oh, yeah. It's a good design.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, I got a package in the mail from CMD up in Canada. I reviewed today Quinlan Voss. That video is already up. Very good figure. I like that one a lot. Tomorrow's review is going to be on the Seventh Sister Inquisitor, also a legendary addition to the line.
Heck yeah.
And then Thursday's review is going to be on Jedi Master Count Dooku. And, a lot of reuse on this guy. The arms and legs are actually reuse from the original Dooku, but that was when the figures started to really turn to the better in the red line. And it really doesn't affect it in any kind of negative way. So Jedi Master Dooku is actually a really good one.
Dooku's always been kind of a taller figure in the line.
Christopher Lee was tall.
Is this Dooku about the same height, you think?
Yes. Yep, he's equally as tall. I think, I'm going to run off memory, but I'll Google it too. But I think Christopher Lee was like 6'3".
Dude was a monster.
Yeah.
Dude was
6'5".
He was definitely operating off, NBA player height.
Right. And then Friday's review is going to be Kyle Katarn. So I don't have attachment to the character yet. Getting the gaming live streams rolling has not gone easy. My intention was to play the Dark Forces game before it came out, but it's still just a very good action figure, and I have a feeling I'm going to like it a lot more once I play the game. But I've actually had a lot of fun just posing him. He's got really good articulation. I believe him to be entirely new sculpt, and he's just sick. I like all of it. So it was a really good wave. All 4 of them were awesome. And then I also snagged on Amazon. I didn't bring it into my room for this, but the Valentine's Day Ewok will be up on Saturday for Valentine's Day. So I was feeling romantical and wanted to share a Valentine's figure.
Dude, you've been absolutely cooking with these reviews. You've been keeping it to that, one upload a day. I couldn't be prouder of you for it. And the videos themselves, like, they're just been dope. And this week with all of those new Black Series videos, I mean, I'm so happy you got your hands on them, plenty early, and giving people lots of, potential first looks at the figures. And they look nice. They look so cool.
Oh yeah, it's a great wave. I think Michael was asking earlier if I would spill the beans on Seventh Sister. I'm gonna make you wait until 8 a.m. tomorrow, but I will generally say that if you think you're interested in her, just go buy her because you'll enjoy it. It's a good figure. Something interesting on this entire wave, I guess with Dooku you would expect it because he's older, but I think Quinlan, Seventh Sister, and Kyle Katarn are 100% new sculpts. Dooku's got the reuse of the arms and legs, but they all have the thigh swivel back. So I wonder if Hasbro has brought that back. We might see that going forward. I've always made fun of it a little bit in my videos because I thought it was a little bit overreacted to when it was taken away. But if it's back, it's just a testament that Hasbro has been listening to the collectors. And, obviously the majority want it back, the loud majority. So they're getting it back. That potentially we'll have to see what the next waves look like. But yeah, that's the big thing I can say to all of y'all is I know Stone Mando likes his thigh swivel. I know that, that Fig Fury is going to be just tickled. It's one of those things where it's like, I think it looks better without, but admittedly it is just a line. So it's like, whatever. But, ultimately it's going to make the comments a lot better too. Cause I'm going to review the figures and I'm not going to get that obligatory comment of it'd be better if it had thigh swivel, even though it's like a peak action figure. So, that'll be good. But, I think with the recent pickups, unless there's another topic, Vincent,
I think that's a wrap, man. This was yeah. Do a little tease before we go.
Little tease. Do I have that in my email?
No, unfortunately you don't.
Okay, no, I know you're thinking about maybe.
Yeah.
All right. There might be something coming, and I want you to say everything you're comfortable with saying about it.
Okay, so as everybody knows, I make these things called Carbonites, and I had a release that was lined up, and it was done. It's in the can. It's shot. It's ready to go. But
have it.
You have it. You have it early. But
Yep.
I decided to push it back because I'm having some changes in my life right now, and I don't really know what the future holds in terms of my design schedule. So while it's very much a priority, it's kind of starting to become a little bit more of like a part-time thing. It always was, but right now it's a little uncertain with the design time I have. So long story short, something got pushed back, which means it's making way for a new case, and that new case is a direct collaboration with this wrong direction, this guy right here. It's been a long time.
Finally getting my collab case, and I picked a good one for y'all.
It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this case for longer than 6 months now.
Yeah.
It's not that I've been dragging feet, but I was really excited to try to do some other things. And we had talked about, man, what could be some bangers for January? Because January is always a very slow month for any business, really. And we were kind of looking and like, okay, I think now is the time, because you and I were really excited about your case idea. And I thought it would be one that would be electric for January. And with January, I put out some other stuff instead that was kind of carryover from the Christmas season, stuff I didn't get to put out then. So now we're making it be a February release. It will be for the category of R-S2 2015. So I'll say that again because it's, kind of lots to take in there. It's R-S2 2015. And there'll possibly be a second case involved with this one. It all just depends on my design time and release schedule. That's all I'm going to say. Hybrid, anything that you want to say?
I don't know. That sounds like it might be inspired by season 2 of Rebels. But
I don't know. Maybe.
I know we got to talk a little loose, but that's why the inspired by is there. But might be some really good stuff in that. Might be some really cool stuff going on. I'm sitting here. I wish I could just say what's going on, but I speculate this case will be a performer. There was a part of me that was like, man, do I use my collab case to get something kind of niche, or do I use my collab case to get something cool moved to the front?
Sure. Yeah.
And I think I didn't go for the most biggest possible scene, but I think I did pull something that wasn't obscure either, and move it to the front. I think when people see this, people are going to see this case and they're going to be like, "Yep, that was Hybrid's pick."
Yeah,
it's going to feel I don't know that anyone's going to guess it, but when it comes out, you're going to be like, "Yep, that was the obvious pick." But it's going to be a very good case. So,
and it's been really fun for me because you were pretty gung ho that, hey, this needs to be in the case, this certain rendition of a character. And I was like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I've never done that before. It's just not something I do, with Carbonites in order to keep consistency at the forefront. It's very finite. Like what you see is what you get. There's only so much I can do in a blocky, format. This guy's awesome, but it's going to be so hard to give him a version where his pistols are drawn, but there are iconic scenes where somebody has something drawn. So when you talked about this version of this character that needed to be included, I was like, oh, I don't know how that's gonna work. And it was wonderful that with one of a recent case that came out, I finally got to experiment what that was like and how that could work. So really excited for people to see it. I'm hoping that can be in existence within the next 2 weeks is what I'm hoping for.
Nice.
And then I have another collaboration lined up for the first week of March as well. So it's kind of one after the other. So some exciting stuff coming up for me. Hybrid, besides the Black Series reviews coming out this week, what can people look forward to with your channel?
I'm definitely, I have a pile of Carbonites I need to work through. There's been a voice in my head that's been like, let's do a Carbonites themed week, and then just everything shipped at once, and it's had to get pushed back a little bit. So I think there's going to be some Carbonites sprinkled in pretty hot and heavy over the next couple of weeks, because now there's only 3 announced Black Series figures that aren't in my hands yet. So we don't even know what the next mainline wave is yet. So that's kind of why I'm like, we need a Force Friday and we need it now. But there's that going on. Vincent is going to be appearing in a video very, very soon. We just want to spill the beans on what all's going on. I'm okay with that. But
sure, if you'd like to, yeah.
All right. So something that's been very fun are my Hybrids weekend toy hunt videos. And they've been a lot of fun. A lot of weekends in general, I'll just be like, let's go get lunch somewhere and hit a couple Walmarts, and I enjoy sitting in the car with my thoughts, so that's always fun. And so I started vlogging it, and they've done pretty well. There's a toy store I have wanted to go to for years, like 10 years I've known about this store, and it's Kokomo Toys in Kokomo, Indiana. And that's a bit of a hike for me. It's about 6 hours one way. And for me in Northeast Ohio, it involves going through Columbus, crossing through Dayton into Indiana. It's a bit of a drive, and I thought it'd be cool if I brought myself a +1. So Vincent's going to be tagging along. We're going to be making a stop at Toy Department down in Cincinnati. That's a place that he's gone before and has been hardcore plugging, and their Instagram looks awesome. So there's going to be a weekend toy hunt where it's just the bros spending about 18 hours in the car, just going and buying some toys, and it is going to be a fun time. I see Bsum here needs Hybrid to sign his case.
Ooh.
If you can have a package ready by then, I would gladly do that for Bsum. So
okay, we'll make that work then.
Yeah, if you have a box ready to roll, bring that along, and I'll throw a scribble on it for you. But I don't know how to spell my name, but Vincent will help. But
there we go.
But no, it's going to be fun. That's kind of like the video that I'm most excited for. Is like, the crossing state borders, for a toy hunt. And just going to some legendary places. It's going to be a very fun vlog to make.
Well, we were talking, you and I first met up IRL 1 year ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat that just where our relationship has taken us. And it's so cool. So to kind of, go on one of these little weekend adventures, dude, why the heck not? Sounds like a great time. And looking forward to adding some crazy things to the collection. It's going to be great. So yeah, definitely stay tuned. And to everybody who's been rocking with us tonight, thanks so much. This was a total blast. It's wonderful having you all. And as always, I have to thank Hybrid for having me on his platform. So thank you.
Faux show.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for coming on, hanging out with us, listening to the boys talk some toys. There wasn't a lot going on in January, so we said, let's take a break, but we are back. We are going to be doing this monthly, special streams as needed throughout the year, and just trying to be more interactive with everyone. So we got here we're wrapping up. Fenner, as you become a fan of mine in recent history, hope to catch more streams. Heck yeah, thank you for checking me out, Fenner. I appreciate that. So that's the goal. I've never even announced it. I've just said it on the streams. The goal this year, the New Year's resolution, is to upload every single day, and I have not missed a day since January 1st. And it hasn't been that difficult. So I was saying I'll fail by February 3rd, but I made it, and so now we're going to move that to March 3rd. We'll see how we're doing. But I've got some ideas for some fun content. So, but thank you all for hanging out. Thank you, Vincent, for always being available. So
of course, man, absolutely. It's always a blast. And everybody, enjoy your night. Looking forward to next time we talk. There's hopefully going to be lots more Mando and Grogu. So
hopefully we have a Force Friday revealed.
That's right.
So, all right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Later. Peace.